don't know what that means.
I can barely handle whatever I am, dude. To be real honest, bro.
It's also new.
Whatever I am, bro, it keeps jerking off at night and being afraid to talk to women. So, whatever that one is, that's what I am, bro.
You're theosexual.
Oh, it's fucking getting kind of heady, man.
You're theosexual. Why are you afraid to talk to the women?
No, I don't know. You know, I think I get afraid to, like, I always got afraid to approach women. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
But why? You're a handsome fella. You're funny. You're successful.
I don't know. I think something. I just
Childhood shit.
yeah, probably there's something, like, you know, I would just be so fucking nervous, buddy. You know, when I was a kid, I would be so nervous. I would be so nervous.
Which is interesting that you got into stand-up comedy, which makes people really fucking nervous.
Well, I think I was familiar with being nervous, so that didn't affect me.
Oh, interesting. Because you're nervous all the time. You're like, fuck it, I'll just go be nervous in front of all these people.
Oh, the audience is when you're on stage, the audience is just a woman.
Oh, like you're just trying to get them to like you.
You're just trying to you're like, how do we get this to work out, you know?
How do I get you to like me more? Who do I have to be?
Dude, the other night was crazy. Sorry, I cut you off. Go on.
No, go ahead.
I got nothing, man.
No, the other night was crazy.
This week's been crazy. It's just been a crazy week.
Yeah.
You know? It's been a crazy week, man.
It was interesting because the beginning of the night, no one knew what was going to happen. So you're watching the first results roll in, and there's like this weird thing. And then Trump gets way ahead, but you're like, you don't want to like get too hopeful. Like, how far ahead is he? He's ahead by 100 points. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, and you're like, what is it? And some channels are like, and then every channel's kind of different.
Yeah, they had different numbers. I was getting a different number off my Apple News update than I was getting off of CNN, and then I was texting people. Like Tulsi and J.D. Vance, I was getting a different number. Apparently, Elon created an app, and he knew who won 4 hours before the results. So as the results were coming in, 4 hours before they called it, Dana White told me Elon was like, I'm leaving, it's over, Donald won. He just fucking somehow or another.
I'm going to go back into my pod and evaporate.
I don't know what he's getting, where he's pulling his data from, but he had like the most accurate data in terms of the rural states hadn't put their results in yet, but yet Trump was ahead in these states. Kamala's never going to win those states, so tabulated that and like put it all together. I don't know how he did it. But
yeah.
Dana, I haven't even talked to Elon about this. I don't know like the Dana translation, but Dana said he had an app, and he was like showing him. He's like, it's over. And he fucking left. Dude just left.
It's over. John Jones won. Just saying that.
He just fucking left.
Dude, yeah, I mean, the whole thing's crazy to me. I'm so happy for, my biggest thing was I was so happy for Bobby Kennedy, man. Yeah. Because he's the only person that I super know, like, as a human, you know? He's been a buddy of mine for years, and I've just known that he's like, I trust him. Like, it's almost like you have people that you know and that are good people. It's like, I have to trust my own instincts at some point and know, I know him. Right. You know, he's somebody I would vouch for. Right. You know, he's a good guy, and he's been helpful to me, like in moments where I have struggled as a person, and just been inspirational to me. You know, it's like I know him. You know, like a friend, and so that's, I think, like, that was something I was like super excited about, just to see where everybody was like, screw this guy, you know, and to see him have a arc where it's like, because all he ever cared about, to me, and I don't know, this is just my opinions, dude. Some people, everybody has their own opinions, and I'm an idiot, but he always cared about like the rivers and the environment, you know, and then he started to care about the environment inside of our bodies, right? So for me, that all makes sense, right? And so, like,
we know where it all happened from, right?
I was super, like, I was super excited about.
Do you know how he made the transition to being worried about pharmaceutical drugs? He would give these speeches, and he litigated a bunch of lawsuits against corporations that were polluting rivers. They cleaned up the East River. He was an environmental attorney, and they were also talking about the effects of mercury poisoning in the soil and water. And these women kept coming to these things that he was doing and saying, you need to investigate mercury in vaccines. And, you know, he thought, like, that is, like, which most people think. You hear vaccine, like, the last thing I want to be labeled is a vaccine skeptic. Jesus Christ, a vaccine denier. That's like, I mean, we talked about this yesterday, but it's like Holocaust denier is number one, but vaccine denier and election denier are like right under there.
Yeah.
And he started looking into it, particularly the MMR vaccines and the correlation between the uptick of all these autoimmune issues, autism spectrum disorders, all these different things that coincided directly with the increase in the vaccine schedule for kids. And so then he starts doing research on it. And the more he does research on it, the more it gets uncovered that there's this gigantic machine that's protecting all of this because there's so much money that's being generated. And most of it has to do with during the Reagan administration, they gave them immunity to prosecution. So they were no longer liable for whatever side effects the vaccines caused.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and then, of course, these motherfuckers started giving little kids, little babies that were just born, Hep B vaccines. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's you get that from needles and sex.
Yeah,
this is
unless
fucking
it's Pam
baby.
Anderson's baby, dude. I wouldn't put anything in that kid, you know? And no, I don't even know if she has any kids or not. And I love Tommy Lee, so I don't know who
Well, you fucked up.
Already done, dude.
It's a joke. What are you going to do? It's a fucking joke.
Yeah, sorry, everything's okay.
I feel the same way about Bobby. I don't know him as well as I know Tulsi, though. Tulsi is...
Yeah, I don't know her.
Tulsi's a good friend of mine. I love her. She's great. She's an awesome person. She's like a legitimate awesome person. You know, that lady, she served as a congresswoman for 8 years, and the whole time she was against this divide of right versus left. She was always trying to be cool with everybody. She served overseas. She was deployed overseas in a medical unit, man. So she was helping people that got blown up by the war twice. That's where she got that crazy white streak in her hair.
Really?
That all came from the stress of being overseas, working in a medical unit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, can stress be that compartmentalized inside of you and it comes out like that?
Oh, your body's... You can't imagine. You know, I was just talking to my friend Bruce about this last night. He was a cop in Austin. We were talking about the amount of death that most police officers see and the stress that has on you. And what he was telling me is you take like a cop that has like 20 years in the job, what they see is probably 10x what the average soldier who's deployed sees. Because you're seeing murder all the time. You're seeing car accidents all the time, suicide all the time, domestic violence all the time. You're pulling people over. You never know if you're going to get shot because most of these guys are fucked up because they're just constantly seeing stuff, constantly.
Oh, yeah. I'd be at home out here if somebody opened a jar of Pringles and I'd fucking pull on them, you know? Yeah. You
hear that top
yeah.
pop?
Yeah. What's going on?
What is happening?
Dude, we had a police officer on a few years ago, or about a year ago. Can you look this up? Jamie, is it okay to ask Jamie to look something up?
Yeah, okay.
It's a police officer.
How long ago?
Yes. This guy, retired police officer, Sergeant Brad White. This guy was super unique. He lived in Los Angeles, but he told this story. He was he didn't have any political thoughts. He just told stories of what it was like being a police officer, and he told the story of his first day on the job. They're chasing a guy. The guy runs into traffic, gets hit by a vehicle and killed, right? So even as just a human being, like, you're just doing a job, but then you're like trying to compartmentalize or how do, you know, what effect did I have on this? What are my, you know, like, he told this story of a mother had called and said that her son was thinking about committing suicide, right? The mother meets him in the yard. He shows up. He's a police officer. It's in outside of Los Angeles, I think in Whittier Police Department. I could be wrong. He shows up. The mom meets him outside. They see the son comes into the doorway, right? It's like a glass door with another door behind it, kind of. Takes his own life, right? Kills himself right in front of them. So now he's standing there with the mom. Now he has to console the mother, then go inside of the home. He walks inside. The door won't open because the man's body is there, right? He's having trouble getting it open. Even just that moment. He gets it open. Something falls off of the ceiling down the back of his shirt. And it's part of the guy, his brain matter. He had shot himself on the ceiling. So I know that's graphic and stuff. But and then for the next 3 or 4 hours, he has to take care of this scene with this little feeling between his bat wings or whatever what is that?
Bulletproof vest.
No, inside of your body.
Shoulder blades.
Oh yeah,
Shoulder blades. Yeah.
And it's brain matter.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's just a regular guy. You know, he might not even have finished college or something. You know, it's like, so just the baffling amount of stuff that police go through. Anyway, I was trying to just like, those are stories that stuck with me when I spoke with that guy. It was like unbelievable.
It's just conveniently ignored by most people who will never be police officers. And then that was one of the more offensive things about the George Floyd thing. All this defund the police shit. Where people rose up and were saying, defund the police, and I mean defund the police. And Kamala Harris was one of them. She was out there tweeting, defund the police. And because of that, crime just ramped up in certain communities, and so many people wanted the police back, but then it's, you know, it's a long process to try to, and to this day, most of these cops don't have good morale. They still have this feeling of defund the police was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It's hard to get people to be cops now. They don't want that fucking job, and why would they? It's a fucking hard job.
Yeah, and they don't even. I think the highlight, like they used to play like softball in our area against like the fire department. That was like the highlight of it. You know, it was like having like competition. You know, but I don't even like if you defund them, they're not even super funded. You don't ever see a cop with like a boat. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't...
A baller cop.
Yeah, you don't see a fucking... Yeah,
right, if you think about how hard that job is, like, hard jobs should pay more. Right?
Yeah, dude.
You know? Like, what is the... I think if you paid them too much, though, then they just quit. Like, I got enough. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be tough.
Because, like, what's harder, being a rapper or being a cop? It's fucking way harder being a cop.
Oh, yeah. I think, yeah.
But rappers get paid way more.
That's true. Cops just, I think a lot of cops will start making albums from their cars. You know? But there really should be there should be a great producer that goes on a ride along with a police officer. This is going to happen, watch. And makes a dope track with a cop.
Right.
And you could make a dope and you'd have so much great visuals.
Right.
And the proceeds go towards supporting the police department.
Yeah, like the cop could like be saying shit from behind the wheel, and you can sample that and turn them into songs.
We got him. In pursuit.
Different codes, 5150. Isn't that when someone's crazy?
Oh yeah, that's crazy right there. That's 50. I think 44.
Look at, is this cop rap? What is this? Grammy-nominated rapper, Sacramento police officer records new deployment recruitment video.
Pull him up, man.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I looked. I just figured there could have already been one.
What's that? 5150.
What do you have to do to be a Grammy-nominated? Grammy-nominated doesn't impress me. Like Grammy-winning, that impressed me. Grammy-nominated.
Dude, my Grammy
Who
will
nominated you?
Yeah, my Grammy will nominate anybody. She liked Traveling Wilburys.
You didn't.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, if my grandfather showed up and said, "Hey, they're good," I respect that a little bit more. But that's just me, you know. Lainey Wilson, I love. She's great. Red Clay Strays, Stephen Wilson Jr.
Red Clay Strays are great.
They're good.
Yeah, there's good music out now. It's a good time for music because like you could find things so easily. You know, you don't have to wait for the radio. You just find stuff. People send you stuff. Like in the green room all the time. Someone will play something. Like, well, what is this? And I'll Shazam it. Like, oh shit, it's nice. That Shazam thing, that feature is so huge.
Yeah.
You know, on Google Pixel phones, there's an option to just have it on all the time. So anytime a song is playing, you can look down on your phone and it'll tell you what song's playing.
I didn't know it.
Do they still do that? I think that's still a feature. I think it's only on the Google Pixel.
What was I thinking? I feel all over the place. You ever feel like that?
Oh, yeah.
Like
But I
you
haven't
open
been
your life?
sleeping. I haven't been
Yeah, I didn't sleep well.
2 days in a row, I didn't sleep. The night of the election, I could not sleep. I got home, I was wired.
Did
and
you
I just
jerk off or not?
No, I just sat in front of the TV. I was watching professional pool, sitting in front of the TV. I called Dave Smith. Me and Dave Smith talked on the phone at like 3:30 in the morning. And then I finally went to bed, and my wife woke up. She was like, "What happened? Who won?" And I was like, "Trump won in a landslide."
You're like the Spurs.
And then she was up. I'm like, it was a landslide. Like, it was a crazy landslide. It was the red wave that everybody thought was going to happen in 2022. Hey, Jamie, I'm hearing more and more about what we talked about yesterday, about the amount of people that voted for Biden in 2020 versus the amount of people that voted for anybody in 2016 and for anybody in 2024. That they're still saying it was a giant jump.
That's what I see too.
A lot of people think it's bullshit. There's a lot of people that are getting super suspicious about the 2020 numbers because Biden got more votes than anybody by like 20 million. It's really crazy if you look at the chart.
Well, did they say that the most people they'd ever seen at voting stations were this year?
Yeah.
That's what I don't know what the visual report is for this year. But then
This is the most consequential election I think I've ever felt.
For sure.
For sure. The way people felt about it, too. The people on the left thought they were convinced that Hitler was coming. They're convinced that some right-wing authoritarian is going to come down and take away all your rights. And
well, that's the media does that.
100%.
But
100%. Not what he was saying, not what he did for 4 years in office. It's all the media. And we're all victim of it a little bit. Because you won't defend him or support him if you hear all these things about him, because then you got to defend the fact that no, he didn't really do that. He's not really a felon. There were only misdemeanors. Texas voter turnout falls in 2024 election despite record registration numbers. This is just Texas, right? 61% cast ballots, near 6% drop from the 2020 presidential race. But the difference in the numbers nationwide is what I'm interested in, because the nationwide numbers they're pretty consistent, like through the entire. Like if you look at 2012, it's consistent with 2016, which is also consistent with 2024. The anomaly is 2020.
Yeah.
In 2020, everything goes way up. Way up.
Maybe because people were sitting at home and so bored and they said they didn't have much to do, you think?
Could be, because it was during COVID. Could be a lot of people weren't working, so they did have the opportunity to vote. The voting should be a national holiday.
I agree. I don't understand.
It's crazy that you give some people a complication. Like imagine if you have a shithead boss. Like, I got to vote. Why did you vote early? Because I was working for you, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
Let me go. Let me go vote.
Yeah, I mean, they give Christopher Columbus as a
fuck
holiday,
that
dude.
guy.
The Lieutenant Dan of the 1400s. That dude gets a fucking holiday, okay?
Yeah, why don't you go
But
read
you don't get a
what that
day
guy
off.
did? Let's get rid of Christopher Columbus. They changed it to Indigenous Peoples Day, and the Indigenous people are like, thanks, after you wiped out 90% of us,
Yeah.
thanks for giving us a day. How about we keep that day? That's fine. But how about we have an election, national election holiday? We could do it
Yeah.
one more holiday.
Celebrate it. It's a great day. People can
Yes.
rejoice. And then I think,
Cookouts.
yep, it would take a lot of stress off people, too. It's like today's also
Yeah.
a day of celebration. It's not this day that I have to sneak away from work and be sneaky or whatever.
You should have
and
a paid.
eat in my car.
It should be a paid holiday.
Yeah.
You should expect to have to pay your employees on the day that election comes, because everybody should be able to go vote.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. We should make it. We'll talk to Trump about it. Making a nationally mandated holiday.
I don't have his number. I don't know. I mean, there's a guy in his department have his number.
We could look it up. I know some people.
Yeah, dude, it was just what a crazy week.
Yeah, very great. Well, you were one of the first guys to have him on the podcast. Did you have any hesitancy of having him on at all?
My brother, actually, my brother's a lot smarter than me, and he said, "Hey, man, I just want you to think that there could be some reflection from people if you have him on, right? Like some people could be upset about it,
Right.
you know?" And I thought about that a little bit, and I was like, well, I don't really, I don't know, I have political thoughts and beliefs and stuff like that, and it's hard to find a group that really embodies them. And if anything, right now for me, it seems like I don't even feel like these new parties are the same as the old parties. It doesn't seem like this isn't Democrats and Republicans. There's something else transmorphing right now.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I I just want to be able to have a chance to talk to this guy, And the main thing for me was like you talked about Dana White earlier. He's really, I know that you guys work together, and he, I knew that Trump's brother suffered from addiction, right? I knew that. right? I heard that or something, and I looked into it. It's like, okay, he lost his brother. His brother died of addiction. So I was like, well, that's interesting to me, you know? And I wish that people, I wonder if there's more to Donald Trump. Like, is there more of a way to talk with him about something that means, you know, try to get an emotional more of an emotional well to him than it seems like that's in the public.
Well, there was a thing that was going on for a while where you were platforming people. This was the idea. Like, if you had on a guy like Trump, you were platforming this bad person. This was this thing.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all.
But it's an authoritarian way to regulate conversations that let you know more about people, and it's stupid because people don't want to have a nuanced perspective on anybody. Look, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to Kamala Harris. I'm like, I bet there's a person in there. I bet I can get to that person.
Yeah.
I wanted to find that person. I don't want to hear all the speeches. I don't want to hear, I was raised middle class. I don't want to hear any of that shit.
She's a roller skater. You know that?
No, I would love to find that out.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to her about all kinds of shit. I literally said, like, because there was a few restrictions of things they didn't want to talk about, but I said, I don't give a fuck. I go, get her in here. Like, whatever you want to talk about. And they want to know if I edit. I'm like, there's not going to be any editing. There's no editing.
Yeah.
We're not going to edit. But
yeah, that's the same thing they asked us. Is there an edit, you know?
I just wanted to talk. I feel like you give someone a couple of hours and you start talking about anything, I'm going to see the pattern of the way you think. I'm going to see the way you process ideas. I'm going to see whether or not you're calculated or whether you're just free.
Yeah.
Or are you comfortable with you, or are you projecting things? Like, she's got 80 different accents. How do you decide which one to pull out?
Yeah.
Like, she busts out different accents depending on who she's talking to.
Yeah.
They should have made her talk to a bunch of Chinese folks. I would have loved to hear that accent. I want to see what,
I do that too, though. I like to meet people where they're at.
Sure.
You know? Oh, if I see somebody that's, you know, I'll be like, what's happening, my friend? You know? It's like, I like to meet people where they are, you know?
Yeah, she did one with the Latinos where she talked with a Latino accent like, this is wild. But she's a chameleon. But if you want to be a successful politician, that's probably a good trait.
I agree.
You know? It's like a comedian that's always on. They kind of get annoying. But if you want to be a comedian, that's probably a good trait. You want to be a politician, you should probably be able to melt into your environment and sort of meld yourself with whatever these people want you to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe it's just like I always feel like the environment of debates, the environment of interviews on television, the environment of anything you're doing in front of an audience, it's so fake. It's such a weird way to talk that you don't get a sense of who the person is. So, like, when I got to see Trump on your podcast and you were talking about doing cocaine, then it makes you like an owl.
Oh, God.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious, but it was like, you got a chance to see that guy as a person trying to figure out, like, who is this psycho I'm sitting here talking to?
I remember that shit. I'll fucking make a nest in my living room, dude. That shit, boy. I'll scoot over to the neighbors and steal some twine in my beak, homie. There's nothing worse than being locked out of your place on cocaine, man.
I can only imagine. But you talking to him, like, as a person is, like, almost more valuable than any other kind of speeches he does. Because when he's in front of everybody, talking about we're going to make America amazing, those are great speeches. But you don't, like, she had an amazing speech. When I was like, she could win, was when she had that one speech about Donald Trump, like, scared to debate her, but he says all these things. But you know what I always heard? If you want to say something, say it to my face. And the whole place went crazy, and she was laughing.
I didn't see that.
Oh, it was so good. It was her best speech, for sure. And it was right when they decided that she was going to run for president.
Maybe that is what got people involved.
Biden stepped down, and she had one banger of a speech. She looked young and energetic, and, like, it really made you feel like this is going to be a chick. She's hot.
Yeah.
She was younger. She was a smoke show.
She's still all right. She got that thing on her, I bet.
So that...
You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you were saying. That's why it's so crazy.
Because a lot of brothers love her, too.
Everybody seems to love her.
Look, if the brothers like it, she got that thing on her. That's all I'm saying, you know?
I understand what you're saying. But, like, that one speech was almost enough for her to win. And if she just didn't talk other than speeches, But they would have done. They needed to do a better job with the speeches because every speech was the same. And the problem with that is we were talking about this, like the internet. You get to see that speech over and over again online, like, and then people make compilations of the speech. And it looks,
and then the same thing.
but it's like if someone goes to see your act. You know, they don't understand, like, acts, like, to develop a bit, it takes months and months and months to really, like, put it together where it's, like, rock solid.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it the same way or slightly different every night. And if someone comes to see you and goes, Theo's so full of shit, man. He told us the other day that it was just the other day.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, he said it 3 weeks later. It wasn't just the other day. It was 3 fucking weeks ago, dude. You're repeating the same shit. So that's what they
you
feel
got too
about-
many leap years, white boy. Yeah, shit like that.
Exactly. So that's what they feel about, like, a presidential candidate that's telling the same speech over and over. Well, hey, you're not supposed to go see all those speeches.
But yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But the thing is about
you're
Trump.
not following the Grateful Dead here. You know,
Trump
it's like.
rambles.
But Trump has a lot, though. Trump has a lot that are repetitive.
He does, but not in the same order. It's like going to see a Grateful Dead show. It's like fucking, it's all over the place. You know, when Trump gets out there, he just does tugging. Did you see? He accepted. He had this long-winded speech about the rocket.
That was
about
insane,
Elon caught
dude.
the rocket.
I'm
Yo,
like, you just won the presidency.
edit that down. You can edit that
Cut
down.
it down,
That
dude.
could be 2 minutes.
Beautiful arms.
I was worried about that in the very beginning of the podcast before we got cooking. When he was talking to me about Lincoln's bedroom, I was like, oh boy, like where is this going? Like,
I've been in Lincoln's bedroom.
How was it?
It was okay. I think you can bring it up, actually. It's in Springfield,
they give you-
Illinois.
oh, it is? No, he was talking about the one that's in the White House.
Oh, no, I've been to just his child before he got
You
elected.
can go to his childhood home. Oh, wow.
It's really interesting. He used to keep his notes in his hat.
Oh, that was a good move.
Pretty cool.
Big ass hats back.
That head wallet, baby, he had
That's
that
a
bitch
good
on him.
move. That's
yeah.
a good move. It's like
Especially
credit cards behind your phone, that kind of thing. Except if you lose your phone, you lose everything.
But you ain't losing that big ass hat. That hat was fucking long, dude.
Isn't it crazy, man? You ever see like how many dudes wore like fancy hats back in the day? That shit just went away.
It did.
Imagine if you were a kid and you're growing up in a hat family. You're like, our family makes hats, bro. I'm balling forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over this business, and then no hats. If you watch, there's a great outside boxing match in Reno, Nevada, between Jack Johnson and I think it's Jim Jeffries. And I think this is
Jim Jeffries?
yes, not that guy. Another one,
It's not the.
not the comedian.
No, I'm talking about the murderer.
No, maybe I don't think so. I think he's just a boxer.
Who was it?
James Jeffries. So see if Jack Johnson versus this is it.
Who
So,
killed the people with that
here's the
Kool-Aid or
thing,
whatever?
Like, when there's a video of all these folks that are walking like to the event, and every man has a fucking hat on, dude.
Wow.
They all have hats. Look, they all have fancy hats. Look at all these guys. They're taking off their hats, waving their hats. Men left the house with a fucking hat on. Look at this.
Wow.
Dude, they all have these fancy hats.
What happened?
They're all dressed up nice with fancy hats. First of all, good luck seeing anything outside the Republican National Convention with that many people on the streets dressed up in suits.
That's
like,
true.
that's it. It's the only time you're ever going to see this. These are like regular men walking on the streets. Everybody had fancy hats on and a nice button-up shirt and a suit jacket. That's Jim Jeffries right there.
Oh, those guys
That's-
are good, dude. James
That's,
J.
John, that's John L. Sullivan.
No way.
Yeah.
The guy from that's the guy from Monopoly too, right there.
He was a bare knuckle boxer back in the Dizzy. So, and he was still famous back then.
Wow, look at him putting it all together. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Isn't that cool? So they built this outdoor stadium to watch Jack Johnson beat the fuck out of Jim Jeffries.
Oh,
That's how it goes. Jim Jeffries was trying to make a comeback. He was a little bit older. Back then, bro, boxing would go until someone died.
yeah.
They would have, I mean, what's the most rounds they had back then? They were crazy. It was like 80 rounds or something. Like, what's the longest old school boxing match ever, Jamie? I think they had some insane amount of rounds.
That's a good
Look
question.
at this. The greatest number of rounds was 276 in a 4-hour and 30-minute fight when Jack Jones beat Patsy Tunney in Cheshire in 1825. Holy fuck, dude. And were introduced in 1867. Each round of a fight would last until someone was knocked down.
Oh my God! Wow,
Bro, 276 rounds is so crazy.
Ugh.
That's when you get all your CTE in an IV bag. You just get, you have to.
That's
you have
the
to
Brennan Shaw
swallow
gauntlet right
vitamins.
there, dude.
You just get your CTE just hot pumped into your fucking brain.
Modern.
I'm just
boxing
joking,
would be
Brendan.
110, I guess.
Oh my God.
At New Orleans, that's where it was.
In he lived to 94. He lived to 1867. 94. Oh, these are when they died. Oh, because 1893, it lasted 110 rounds. Oh
Wow.
my God. 7 hours and 19 minutes. It was declared a no contest, later changed to a draw.
Dude, most people couldn't go that long without even looking at their phone, dude. much
Yeah,
less,
7
much
hours.
less having to fend
How
off
about
a guy.
having to take a shit? You're in the middle of a 200-round fight. You have to take a shit.
They should have a diaper round. We have to fight and shit at the same time.
I would bet it affect your punching power if you just waddle around and shit.
Dude, I don't think there's a way you can shit and punch at the same time.
It's
Can there?
very hard. Very
Look that
hard.
up.
Very hard.
Because, yeah, think about it.
Yeah. No.
It'd be so
You need
soft.
to tighten all that up if
Yeah.
you're going to throw a good punch. Like your ass cheeks tighten because you kind of use your legs as you thrust forward. You really can't shit and punch not effectively.
Fuck
You're gonna
yeah,
lose
we
that
cracked
round.
the code, bro.
Yeah, we cracked the code. You're going to lose that round. So I guess they probably just pissed themselves. I know guys who've shit themselves in the UFC. Multiple guys, yeah.
Oh, it breaks my
I
heart.
believe Tim Sylvia shit himself in a fight once. Who else? Someone came out there. Michael Chiesa looked over at me once while I was doing commentary. And I think he got called, and it was perhaps one of those situations where the fight before ended quicker, so he didn't get as much warm-up time as he wanted.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's running out there, and he looked at me, he goes, dude, I'm about to shit my pants. I go, really? He goes, yeah, I'm about to shit my pants. And he won. He went out there and won first round submission.
Because he had to.
Because he had to.
Yeah. Dude, there's another.
So is this the fight? Oh, is this another guy who shit his pants? A fight who pooped their shorts. Yeah, it happens, dude. This guy shit himself a little bit.
Dude, I would shit myself if I had to go in there. So that's crazy.
Tim Sylvia definitely shit himself. Randleman shit himself?
Yeah.
It happens, man. Look, you're getting
Oh,
your
I'm not. Yeah.
liver pounded on. You're getting kneed in the guts.
Oh, I got in a car accident once and it happened.
You shit yourself?
I didn't want to. I didn't have a choice. It just happened. It wanted to.
She shit her pants too. Justine Kitch,
No.
congratulations. I bet dudes would pay a
Call
lot of
time
money
out.
for that. That on OnlyFans, you could sell them shitty drawers.
And that's Mark Goddard right there. Call time out, brother.
He just stepped
No.
in it.
Oh,
that's
is that
Keith.
what it is? That's the
Yeah.
poop?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Imagine if you're, like, face down, if someone's putting you in a rear naked choke, and they didn't clean the mats that good, and the person before shit all over the place. You get pink eye while you're getting your ass kicked.
God, that makes me scared.
Yeah, that's a scary job. That's the scariest job. You think,
Yeah, I went to that fight with you. Or no, I went to that fight. Remember me and Joey Diaz went
which one?
in New York. Oh, it was. Oh, I was thinking of your fighters. Well, I went and saw the James J. Braddock statue before.
Oh,
It was in New
really?
Jersey. Before Dustin and that last fight that he had. No, the one before the last fight.
Justin Gaethje? That was in...
No, after that. It was in New Jersey.
Okay.
The
That
pride
was...
of-
Yeah. Benoit Saint-Denis. Yeah.
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 No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, he beat up Benoit Saint-Denis and knocked him out. That was after
He
that.
lost Islam, but
Oh,
right.
which one was in Jersey? Islam?
He didn't beat Islam in Jersey.
Right. So he fought Benoit Saint-Denis, then he gets a title shot against
Yeah.
Islam.
Yeah,
Islam's-
I went with Joey. And I went to the James J. Braddock statue before. It was awesome, dude.
Islam's a monster. He's so good.
Yeah, it was crazy. And Joey was like, dude, he was so. This is all love, dude. He's the fucking tremendous. He's one of a kind, and his book is great too. If you haven't read his book, but he's sitting there. He'd been eating mushrooms, you know. And once he even started eating a little, you could see Aaron Rodgers start to look over. You know, he was getting
That's
curious.
hilarious.
You know, he's like, what was happening? You know.
That's hilarious.
But by the sixth quarter or whatever, I don't know how the fights go, but it's like by the sixth quarter, he's just rubbing on his thighs, right? He's fucking. He goes, "Who's winning, dog?" That's what he kept saying to me.
Oh, I can't wait to see him.
Joey used to shovel snow for James J. Braddock.
Did he really?
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's one of my favorite things that I ever learned about him.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine that?
That is crazy.
What else is going on?
I'm gonna see him in a couple of weeks. He's coming out here. Joey is gonna start staying out here for months at a time. Yeah, he wants to get a place downtown in the club.
Me too. I'm gonna come back and look in about a week and a half.
Every time he comes, like, I gotta come out here. Come on, we'll make it easy for you. We'll make it easy for you. You tell me when you want to come. You come. We'll fly you out, put you up, whatever you want. I'll get you a real estate lady. Let's get the party started. And I'm trying to bring back the church of what's happening now. Because him and Lee Syatt, they were together when they were at the club together. And I'm like, come on, let's get the band back together. You guys together were fucking amazing.
There was nothing like that. Show kept people alive.
That show, Joey Diaz's show, was one of the most ridiculous, silly, preposterous shows. It was so ridiculous. And then he went to New Jersey, and here's the problem with Joey in New Jersey. He loves New Jersey. He loves New Jersey people. He needs comedians. And you forget that until you're not with them. And then you're like, oh, this ain't no fun.
You're just talking to plumbers, whoever's got a decent attitude or whatever, decent
That's
sense of
nice.
humor.
I like talking to all kinds of people,
Yeah.
obviously. But I need comedians in my life, like I need vitamins. Like I need a certain amount of sunlight to get some vitamin D.
Yeah.
I need comedians. It's too, like that night that we had in that green room watching the elections, how many jokes were cracked? How many fucking times we rag on Tony?
Oh, dude.
We talked Tony off the ledge.
We did it. Tony's just fucking...
Tony's like got statistics. 26% more Puerto Ricans voted for Trump.
Bro, he had the Puerto Rican app open on his Whoop bracelet. I'm like, they have that? What is that?
Bro, the whole thing.
He was like, how many plantains have sold tonight? He was fucking losing his mind.
They tried to label him as a speaker. They said he was a speaker. A speaker? That was at the Trump rally? He said that Puerto Rico was a pile of garbage. These are human beings.
Was that Adam Ray? Who was that?
That's Obama.
Oh, it is?
A speaker?
Yeah.
That was at the Trump rally? He was talking about Puerto Rico as a pile of garbage.
Dude, the simple fact that Obama was talking about Tony Hinchcliffe is crazy.
Bro, Obama's doing a Tony Hinchcliffe bit. There's a video of us at the mothership.
What is going on?
We played it yesterday, but I want to play it again, Jamie. Play the video. It's on my Instagram of Tony is on stage in the main room. By the way, Tony goes on stage. It's like Richard Pryor just showed up. Yeah. They were going nuts. He murdered. He has 35 minutes on it.
Oh, yeah.
He's on stage.
About the Puerto Rican joke. And,
No way! At the same time?
At the same time, yeah.
just look at this. I'm going to go into the slide bar. Okay, he's running against Hillary Clinton. This is simulation for sure.
We're definitely in a simulation.
My God.
So this guy was on Fox talking about Tony on one TV while Tony was on stage on the TV monitor.
That's unbelievable. We did it.
He was so nervous because here's what was going to happen. If he lost, so the way these news organizations work, they have outlines for stories. If Kamala wins, they have outlines for stories if Trump wins. If Trump lost, they were going to blame it on Tony. Mm-hmm. They had stories where they're going to blame it on that joke, and they were going to say that joke turned the tides and made people realize the Trump organization's filled with Nazis and racists, and they were going to blame Tony, and Tony would have been fucked. Because then the Trump supporters would have thought that too.
Right, so it was like both sides would have disliked Tony.
Absolutely.
He would have to go to Puerto Rico or Costa Rica.
Maybe. Mexico. Mexico and Puerto Ricans don't really.
No, they don't even.
They don't get along that well. And fighting has always been a giant rivalry between Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, and a lot of
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't know that.
Well, there's no prouder group of boxers, I think, in the history of Earth than Mexican boxers. Like, they have Mexican boxers are known for a specific style. Like, if someone says you fight like a Mexican, dude, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Mexicans, like Julio Cesar Chavez, fucking Canelo Alvarez, Oscar De La Hoya. You can go down the line. Morales. Fuck, man. There's so many. Manuel Marquez.
Yeah.
So many, man.
They got just so many punches in one punch.
Well, there's a culture of boxing there that goes back so far, and it's so and with boxing, it's always people that are poor that want a way out, and one of the best ways out, if you're a poor young man,
Punch
if
your
you
way
can
out.
fight, you can make millions, like Canelo, like Julio Cesar Chavez. So it's like the history of people rising through boxing. But there's a similar history in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has a great history of boxing, too.
Really?
But there was always a rivalry between Mexico and Puerto Rico.
I could see that because you're both Latino cultures and you want to be the best, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've ever been to a boxing match or not.
You should go see Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Might be the last boxing match ever.
I don't know if I want to see it.
Do you want to see it if Mike Tyson wins?
I remember watching Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
And it was like two guys like beating each other up in baby diapers or whatever. It was
Baby diapers.
yeah, bring it up. They were wearing like big diapers or whatever.
No, they were wearing cups. There's a protector that boxers wear that's different than the protector that MMA fighters wear. So the protector that boxers wear is foam that covers like the front of your hips and things too.
Oh, maybe I'm not thinking about it. Maybe I'm thinking about something else then. But it just
this
they
to
kept
me
hugging.
seemed, this is what I believe. I believe really, truly, to my core, that they made an agreement where Mike Tyson was only going to hit him to the body full blast. It looked like every time he hit him to the head, he was kind of pulling back.
That's the thing. It just didn't seem like this. Didn't seem like a real fight.
Right. It seemed like a fight to the body, though. Mike was hitting him to the body really hard, and I think he hurt Roy a bunch of times really hard to the body. But, both of these men are 50. Roy, in his day, I maintain to this day, was the greatest boxer I've ever seen.
Wow.
Roy Jones, in his prime, was a freak. Like, I mean a freak, where he wouldn't even throw jabs. He would throw a lead left hook. He would favor that over a jab, but it was as fast as a jab. And people couldn't understand it because
Yeah.
you'd never been in a ring with someone that fast.
Huh.
If you look at Roy Jones' highlight reel of KOs, you ever watch like Roy Jones when he was in his prime? They were executions, son. It was like Mike Tyson in his prime, but a different thing. In fact, in a Nas song, Nas says the new Mike Tyson's Roy Jones.
Wow.
Roy Jones was just executing people. He was so much faster than anybody. His timing was so good. His
He was a
power.
sniper.
Oh my God, he was just so skillful.
Who would you rather knock you unconscious, you think, if you had to pick a good fighter?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe Roy would just put it out quick, just pop you on the chin, and you'd be
Roy
like,
or
okay.
Connor, though?
Both of them will knock you out quick.
You think?
Yeah, but and this is his one fight with Roy Jones with Vinny Pazienza. It was the only fight in CompuBox history where the opponent didn't land a single punch.
Wow.
A single punch. This was like when Roy was trying to get the referee to stop the fight. Before that, Roy signaled to the referee, stop the fight. And the referee said no, and then Roy goes like this. He's like looking at Vinny, sorry, I got to do this.
I've never even seen
He just
that.
lights it up. Bro, he was so good in his prime. But like all fighters, they stay past their prime, and people really only remember them for
Then.
when they lost.
Yeah.
Roy in his prime was just something completely special.
He had an Allen Iverson vibe.
You went to watch him just to see how long guys would last. Wow. That's what you would watch, to see what he would do to guys.
I did a fishing rodeo with him once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a big fisherman. He dropped his hands, put him behind his back, and knocked the guy out. Like lured the guy in and hit him with one straight right hand and dropped him. It was he would just like be
That's
toying with
crazy,
dudes.
dude. I can't even get a fucking medium jacket off of my body, and this guy's doing this shit. That's what blows my mind,
Roy
dude.
was so good. He was so good.
Oh.
And everybody that
He
went
cooked
in
that
there.
brother right there.
There's a thing that happens when a guy's gonna fight. Like you would see it with Anderson
Who is that,
Silva
Bill
in his
Cartwright?
prime.
Who's he fighting?
I don't know. Some dude is in real trouble. They should have stopped this fight
Oh,
already.
God, bro.
That dude did not need to take those other two punches. Dude, he was so fast.
Yeah, dude. Tony was.
He was terrified.
Shane's
He was terrified. Tony
And
was
bro,
terrified.
Right when I walked in, I hadn't seen him in months. I'm just fucking grilling him. I'm
Bro.
like, there he is. I'm like, who's an island now? That's what I said to him, dude. He's fucking sitting there.
Who's an island now? Did you really say that to him?
Yeah. And here's the best thing about Tony, though. He laughed. Like, Tony is for the joke, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, even if he's, like, going through it, he respects the joke. And, like, there's many layers to that whole thing. It's like, Tony is who he is.
Yeah.
And you respect that to the core. Was it the best timing? Probably not, right?
No.
Was there a lot of supervision over him, what he said?
No.
Probably not.
But that just shows you how disorganized that meeting was.
It's disorganized, but it's also real. So it's like, there's two ways to look at it. It's like, it's like nobody proofread it.
Let me clear something there, because we did say that they had went over his material. They didn't. They did not go over his material. They did. Someone suggested he take one joke out. So he took this one joke out, and he's like, oh, what do I put in its place? He decided to go with the Puerto Rico joke. You fucking dumbass. Don't you know?
We did it.
Yeah,
but
he's just so silly.
But he's the guy.
But he laughs at himself.
Oh, totally. But also, it's weird because it's like, do you want things to be tailored or do you not want them to be tailored? You know?
Yeah.
It's like you could have a group that goes through every single joke and says no to everything.
Right.
And then you get nothing. You know what I'm saying? Kind of. It's like, how many layers of when you drain spaghetti or whatever I'm talking about? Like, how many layers of
spaghetti?
Ah, shit. I don't know. It's been a long year.
I know what you're saying. But I think when you get to a certain level of your career, you got to say no to things that are outside of comedy.
Yeah.
If you're just coming up and someone says you want to go speak in front of the president, go out there, make a mark, soldier, give it your best.
Yeah.
But if you're Tony Hinchcliffe and you just did the Tom Brady roast, Kill Tony's the #1 comedy podcast in the world.
Unreal.
You have millions and millions of downloads every week. Don't do that. Just do comedy. You're really good. That's what I was trying to tell people. If you saw those same jokes on stage, he kills. Fucking crushes. It's just the worst environment ever for it. Lights are bright. It's in the day.
Yeah.
No one knows a comedian. He goes up cold. No one goes on after him. There's like his big-ass pause after him. The whole thing was like organized terribly. Yeah. Terrible. Just complete disorganization. It was like, there was the Trump speech, which is the big thing. Like, what do we do with all the extra time? Like, let anybody talk. Who wants to talk? This guy owns a fucking sandwich shop. Let him come up there. Yeah, look, it's my friend Giovanni. Like, let anybody in there. They were letting people that were saying wild stuff, too.
Oh, they were letting anybody in there.
And
dude.
It didn't seem like they vetted a lot of the speeches. Some of the speeches were like, what do you
Yeah, they had 40 minutes of ASMR in there. They were fucking letting people do anything.
Dude, whenever you get an organization, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, you got to kind of like appease everybody. And you got psychos and moderate people. And they're all together under this one banner of this one. Like, have you ever been on a sports team? There's always like one dude on the team that's a fucking psychopath, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're like, dude, don't cause any fights. Like, leave everybody alone. Let's go. Come on.
We had a brother, he would slash everybody's tires, but then here's the thing, we were giving him a ride home. So it was like, well, now we're all fucked. You know what I'm saying? But that's who he was. You had to respect him. He was a power forward, you know?
Yeah. Well, sometimes they're not making the best decisions.
People don't, man.
A lot.
People don't, man.
Especially football players, bro. You get hit in the head a lot, you're going to make some sketchy-ass decisions.
Nick Bosa got brave and shared his political thoughts the other night. You see that?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's just crazy how, like, on mainstream stuff, if you share anything one way, it's okay, but you share something another way, it's not okay.
Right. Like, nobody got angry at people. They made fun of people for supporting Kamala Harris. Like, we made fun of Dave Bautista, because it looked just so silly. Like, this performative commercial where it's really important to vote for Kamala and
Bautista.
Tim Walsh.
Is that the Menuda? Is he Menuda? Oh,
the wrestler, the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, big Jack dude. He's trying to get movies, man. He's wearing pearls to like red carpet events. I know what you're doing. You're trying to get those movies. You gotta like show
what, though?
You're an artist. You're sensitive. You're on the right side. Put him in the. He wants to be a lead in a movie. Wants to be a movie star.
Then fucking turn on your camera at a house and make something.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's the right move. What he's doing is the right move. Even if he's faking it.
You mean for Hollywood, you mean?
Yeah. Wear the beads. Wear pearls. That softens you up a little bit. Lose some weight. Lost a bunch of weight. Talk shit about Trump. He's allowed to be like a tough guy talking shit about Trump. Did you ever see that Jimmy Kimmel sketch they did? We called Trump a whiny bitch, and you ever seen it?
Or Jimmy Kimmel called Donald Trump that?
No. Bautista.
Bautista did?
You never saw it? Find it because it's kind of funny.
Is he the Intercontinental Champion? I haven't watched wrestling in a bit.
He was a big-time wrestler, was a giant dude, like fucking built like a superhero. And then he went and did Guardians of the Galaxy. He was a giant
yeah,
dude
with Chris
in that.
Pratt.
Yeah. He's a big, giant wrestler, dude.
Yes, now I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but he wants to be a movie star, so he's losing some weight. He's a good actor, too, man. He was good in that, what was that movie, The Glass Onion. Yeah, that was a great movie. He was really good in that.
I'm trying to think of what I've seen.
He's just like if you're a big giant dude and you're a big muscle-bound giant dude, and you want to do like serious roles, like you kind of gotta lose some weight. You know, you kind of gotta like support Kamala Harris. You kind of gotta like wear pearls. You kind of gotta like soften your stance. You know, you gotta kind of like be performative that you're the guy that they would want to pick, because that's like part of the battle. Like here, let me get this.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah.
I thought it was Eddie Bravo, dude.
Trump is some kind of tough guy. He's not. I mean, look at him. He wears more makeup than Dolly Parton. He whines like a baby. The guy's afraid of birds. Donald Trump had his daddy pay a doctor to say his will feet hurt so he could dodge the draft. Look at that gut. Like a garbage bag full of buttermilk. He sells imaginary baseball cards pretending to be a cowboy fireman. Guy's barely strong enough to hold an umbrella.
While he's working out.
And where is this? At Jocko's gym?
I don't know.
Pink chicken.
That's pretty funny.
He's got jugs. Big ones. Like Dolly Parton. He cheats at golf. He creeps around beauty pageant dressing rooms. You know that little dance he does?
Yeah, he's a pervert, dude. Who isn't a pervert?
He's moody, he pouts, he throws tantrums.
No, get those lights off!
He acts like a 5-year-old behind the wheel of a truck. He bends over for Putin. He's cattier on social media than a middle school bean girl. The guy needs help walking downhill. Almost there, Grandma. So this November, let's stop kidding ourselves. Donald Trump is afraid.
I don't watch this kind of stuff.
Look at this. The punches.
Windmills. Merle Street. And being laughed at.
Isn't it past your jail time?
And mostly, he's terrified that real red-blooded American men will find out that he's a weak, tubby toddler.
Mommy, take me home. Mommy, I want to go.
Don't you know, tough guy? Someone grab you by the...
Wow. That closing line's pretty tough,
That's
dude.
not bad. They call him a
good.
bitch. But it's like, you know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Trying to become a movie star. It's a good move.
But
The
why-
Hollywood liberals 100% love that.
Well, Hollywood's just crazy to me, dude. I just don't understand it. Like, it seems like they hate white men.
Well, some people that work in Hollywood, I'm sure, don't like white men, but that's a thing about woke culture. It's like there's a hierarchy of the injustices that you have faced.
But
white men, even if it's not you, which is where it gets prejudiced, because if it's not you, white men over history have caused the most grief. They've caused the most trouble. They've been responsible for the most injustices in this country, at least. You know,
Yeah.
slavery, red line laws.
Other
bringing
people
the
helped with
Chinese.
slavery. Let's don't just pin the tail
100%.
on
But-
the honky donkey. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
But in America, slaves were exclusively owned by white
undeniably.
people.
Right.
In other countries, they're owned by all kinds of people. This is where it gets
See,
weird.
that's what we got to do then.
Well, what people don't understand is there's more slaves today than there have ever been.
Nuh-uh.
There's more slaves today than there were before 1865 when slavery was abolished in America.
You're lying.
Nope, there's more slaves. In Libya, when we took down Libya and the rebels killed Gaddafi on television, did you ever see that?
I didn't know.
It's one of the most terrifying
What channel
videos.
was it on?
C-SPAN. But Libya for a while became like a failed state, and at one point in time there were slave auctions in Libya that you could watch on YouTube.
Okay.
How crazy is that? Like, Google the actual numbers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a real statistic. And this is also one of the things that people are terrified about with this border deal, okay? Because one of the things about the border, it's not as simple as people coming over and they want a better life, of course. But it's also people being exploited. And there's tens of thousands of kids that are missing. Who knows if they've been smuggled into child trafficking. There's who knows how many people have been. Okay, hold on a second. It says estimates range from about 38 to 49.6 million people are slaves today. The number of enslaved people is difficult to determine. Estimates range from 38 to 49 million.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't have any clue.
Well, you have to include people that can't leave, even if they're not like in cages. People that are trapped, right?
Like Gaza people, you mean?
Well, I would talk like people that work in coal mines or cobalt mines in the Congo. They're essentially slaves. I mean, they give them the minimal amount of food and water. They work in horrific conditions, and they live in complete abject poverty.
But they're treated better than the people in Gaza, though.
Perhaps. Well, they're all getting poisoned. They're all getting poisoned and pulling that cobalt out of the ground.
Yeah, but still, they're getting lunch, I bet.
I would imagine. Either way, yeah, you could find other spots that suck worse. But the point is, like, those people you could kind of consider slaves. And then there's real slavery. This friend of mine was telling me about this place that was built in Jamaica or the Bahamas. I think it was the Bahamas. And they brought in Chinese workers in like this giant ship. And he said they had this patch of land. They put up a fence around the land, and all the Chinese workers lived on that land. And the Chinese workers built this resort there, and they worked nonstop, 24 hours a day. They built the whole thing in 18 months. They would just have shift after shift, and once it was completed, they took all the workers, put them back in the boat, put them right back to China. So, what was that? Was that slaves?
That's slavery.
It seems like slaves. Like it seems like unless they paid those people an exorbitant amount of money, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the arrangement was. But they put a fence around the area. They brought people in a giant ship, and then they put them back in the ship and shipped them back to China.
Yeah.
Well,
look at Firefest. Remember Firefest or whatever?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that, dude?
That was a dude trying to make money.
Right, but still, those people got carted over there.
Yeah.
Nothing to eat, nowhere to sleep.
Bro,
Definitely different than slavery, but still, it's like, it's funny. You think just because things happened a long time ago that it's not slavery today, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that Fire Festival is a form of slavery.
I agree.
You see Prop 6 in California?
What is that?
It's on the screen.
Prop 6 prohibits slavery and involuntary servitude.
And it did not pass.
What?
Wow.
What? Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
In California?
Yeah.
Proposed amendment to California's Constitution would bar slavery in any form and repeal a current provision allowing involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime.
Because a lot of them gay producers trying to trank out them twinks, homie. That's why, bro.
Keep them as slaves?
I'll tell you, bro. They fight every now and then.
How would you? Why?
Every now and then, some twink fucking clambers out of an air vent.
Oh, here it is. It's forced labor in prisons.
Yeah, it has to do with paying people who work in prisons and do like they have to fight the wildfires and stuff.
Interesting. So they want them to have to work. Wow.
They just don't want to pay.
Yeah, that's
Bro.
California.
But that is what happened, right? That was what the Jim Crow laws were all about, man. Like, one of the things about slavery is slavery didn't end, boom, now let's give black people jobs. No, slavery ended, and then there was this long period where black men would get arrested for anything and everything.
Yeah.
And then they'd be forced to work. And they had work camps. And so you were still...
the same thing.
You could just get caught and you'd be a slave. You get a bad cop, decides you're speeding. Whatever it is, you're a slave.
Yeah.
And
Speeding,
they did
you
that
need to have
for
a car, and you're speeding.
Yeah, you're looking at people bad. You're verbally intimidating people, whatever the fuck it is. People like you see with when someone wants to target you for something, you pissed off the wrong people, they fucking come after you with the law, and they can get you if they just decide that you shouldn't be free. And we're just gonna, there's an industry around slave labor, which there is. There's also an industry now around keeping people in prison, right? Because the prisons are private. So it's a private corporation owns this building where you lock people up for money. You get paid for them being there. So
Who gets paid?
the private prison? There's contracts with the state.
Like it's like a summer camp or something kind
Well,
of
I
thing?
don't know who gives the contracts, but no, prisons are owned by corporations.
Okay, so prisons own corporations. So
No.
but,
Prison is owned by a corporation, so it's a business.
Okay.
So they lobby to make sure that laws stay on the books. One of them is marijuana. So the prison guard lobby, they were trying to make sure that marijuana stays illegal so that more people stay in prison.
Okay.
Because the more people in prison, the more jobs they have, the more hours they have, the better benefits they'll have. And the prison wants as many people in jail as possible.
'Cause they get
That
money.
is how they make money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who makes the money? It's not the government?
No. Well, in some jails, but there's private prisons. Like, what are the percentage of private prisons? Well, no, I know we've looked this up, but I forget the number.
Are they
There's-
nicer?
I don't think so.
What about the Excalibur in Las Vegas? That place is a fucking private prison, dude. You ever been there? Dear God, bro.
Bro, I heard Circus Circus is going down. That's the ultimate. Circus Circus is like, how is this place legal?
Dude, that was
At the end of 2022, 8% of the total state and federal prison population in the United States was in private prisons.
What?
Yep, which is about 90,873 people. This makes private prisons a relatively small part of the correction system, which is mostly public, which, by the way, is even crazier. How about the fact that 90,000 people in jail is a small percentage? We have more people in jail than any other country. Do you know that?
Yeah, and we need a few more in there too, I think. To be honest, bro. Freedom is some people can't handle freedom.
Yeah, freedom ain't free.
Freedom ain't free, man. What are you eating over there? I need a hit of something, man.
Want one of these?
Huh?
It's,
Oh, that's Zens or something?
yeah.
Breakers?
You scared of it?
You have
want,
a vape on you? This is
I have
non-alcoholic.
this.
What is that?
Bust out the smelling salts.
I'll take a hit of
You wanna
anything,
hit
dude.
of
I'm
that?
about to fucking jerk off just to get high, dude.
What's
I
going
need
on,
something.
Man? What's happening, Steve?
Just been a long week, man. It's been-
Anxious?
yeah, just been a long year, man.
Well, you're successful. You're handsome. I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either. Yeah, I
Bro, this
fucking
one's,
trust me,
this
dude.
one's so bad. It stinks. Chuck
Does
me a
it?
knife, Shannon? You got a knife over
That's not the fishing bait one, is it?
there? No, bro. This one is so strong. I haven't even opened this yet. Look, sniff it. It's not even open yet.
Can't smell it.
You can't smell that? You have COVID?
Nope. I don't think so.
Shout out to my friend John Reeves who gave me this knife. This knife is made with...
You got a vape in here still, man?
No.
Come on, BLM, dude. What you got, Jamie?
What do you need, man? What's wrong with your vape?
I just want to hit a nicotine. There's no nicotine in it.
What are you doing with a vape with no nicotine? Just faking it?
Yeah, just trying to get through it all.
Do you want a cigar, perhaps?
It'll make me sick, I bet.
Okay. I want you to get sick.
I know.
Before I bust out these smelling salts, son. Oh my God.
Tremendous. What round
Oh boy.
What round are we in,
Bro, this one I'm smelling from over there. Here we go. Oh my God.
Come on, boy. I'll fucking ride that bitch, homie. Huh?
Ooh.
Bareback, huh?
Ooh.
N-words in Paris,
Get it,
baby. Let's
get
get,
it, get it.
this. You feel me?
Get it. Oh, Lord, right? There's nothing like a fresh.
How many seconds did I do, man? That's PBR
You
shit.
had a good haul.
Let me get one more.
One more.
Sorry,
Get back
sorry,
in
man.
there, son.
Sorry.
Don't be scared. I like it. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I can't leave you alone out there in two land. I got to get a dose in myself. There we go.
Oh my God. Oh. Fuck, I just think I saw who won the Heisman. Oh my God. Bro, that shit made something happen to me.
Those are so strong.
Wow.
Ugh.
I'm gonna join women's sports. That was a lot, bro. That was
If every time you did this and you left here and you felt like you couldn't remember things well, would you still do it?
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
If
would.
you would lose like a little bit of memory, like where's my keys? Nothing serious. Like you remember your name, you know, still remember your phone number, but you like, where's my keys?
To do a little
Just
bit of a
bit.
drug.
Yeah, just a little hit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my eyes just shut down, and yeah, and I like it. It's like, how far can we go? There's something about doing something. It's like, I think when you have addiction, you want to do something that harms you. You know,
Is that what it is?
Yeah, you want to fucking, because it's control. It's like I want to control how I feel. So even if how I feel isn't great, there's a weird juxtaposition where it's like if I have control over it, then it's almost like you're the devil that's trying to kill you. You know? Does it make any sense?
So if you have control, like, so you have anxiety and you're worried about things, and so in order to kind of mitigate that, you do a little bit of damage to yourself, so you have control over the damage.
Yeah, there's
Is that
something
it?
about having control about how you feel. So even if you feel damaged, you still did it to yourself. There's like, I don't know, man. I'm doing the worst job.
No, I know what you're saying. The self-destructive tendencies
Yes.
is a big part of addiction, you know?
Yeah, self-destructive. It's like, things feel so hectic right now. At least if I damage myself, then I'm the one doing it. I'm not just letting the world do it, right?
Right.
There's in the moment you don't see that doesn't have any value.
Right.
Afterward, you're like, shit, that was dumb. But in the moment, that feels like at least I'm taking control of the situation, right?
I think sometimes you spend too much time alone.
Me personally,
Yeah.
I would think that's probably true.
Yeah, I think knowing you and being your friend for many years now, I think when you struggle is when you by yourself too much.
Yeah.
Because when you're with everybody else, everybody loves you. We all have fun together. So I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We need that, especially us, especially comedians. We need to be around people that are just like us. Like, you don't have to worry. We could just talk shit and laugh and have fun. There's no like wondering where we stand with each other. It's always fun. You need a home base, man.
Yeah.
You know, and you were doing better when you were at the Comedy Store all the time because you were around us all the time. We were all around each other. We knew there was a place we could go where we could find like-minded people and have a laugh. You know,
Yeah.
on a regular basis, which is like we're so fortunate. Most people don't have a place where they can go where they're guaranteed to see people that they love and you're gonna have a good time and just be silly with each other. And then you're watching all these sets, everybody's going on stage with that energy, and so there's all this
It's fun.
killing in the air.
Yeah, I mean, Mothership's fun, man. I would want to look for a place here. I just haven't had the time.
Let me ask you this.
This year's been the craziest year, you know? It's just been a crazy year. And so it's like,
Well, it's good to be crazy because you're busy and you're doing great stuff. And your
Yeah, it's been
Your
fun.
podcast is killing it.
it's been scary. You know, it's been fun, you know? I appreciate the couple times, you know, you've messaged me after a couple episodes and said, hey, man, I like that or something. I really appreciate I want to let you know that I really appreciate that.
Oh, well, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm very, very proud of you. I love to see how much you've worked at it and how your podcast just keeps growing in the ranks. It's really good, man. It's very authentic. It's a perfect podcast in that it's really you. You know how to be you. You're real authentic. Even if you're talking to Trump, you're being you. You're talking about doing cocaine with former President Trump or
Yeah.
now newly elected President Trump. So it's like,
Well, I just want to have a voice, you know? I always just wanted to have a voice. Or not even, I just wanted, I don't know.
you want to be able to express yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted things to
yeah.
be fair, and I just want to express,
Yeah.
there was always this feeling inside of me, like I can't speak up for myself, you know? And so,
Yeah,
like, I
know
think,
what you're
and even if I'm just listening to somebody but letting them speak, it's like there's still, like, something that, you know, it means, it's like, I can't even explain it, but it's like, it's like, I don't know, it means something to me.
Yeah, I think these kind of conversations are very good for you. Like conversations that you're having, conversations that I'm having. I think they're good for you. You get a chance to communicate with people that are, you know, really interesting, unique people that have lived completely different lives than you. Like I had Brian Cox on the other day explaining the universe to me. I was like a kid in a candy store. It's like it's so exciting to get this guy is this like super intelligent person who's also a really good communicator, who could break down the fabric of the universe for you and what we know about it. I mean, like, when does anybody ever get that opportunity to sit down and talk to someone like that for 3 hours?
Yeah, man. Dude, I had a lady who had been driving cats across the country for 2 years in a fucking tour bus, right? And they perform and they do musical acts. Right? And bro, I'm not even joking to you. It was one of the most fascinating things I'd ever heard in my life.
Oh, yeah.
Because her commitment to it. Imagine she got her CDL so she could drive the fucking bus because it was so expensive.
What's a CDL?
Commercial driver's license.
Oh.
And she goes around doing feline shows around the whole country. And she's been doing it for 15 years.
Who do you think she voted for?
That's a good question. I don't know. Whoever, hey, grab him by the pussy, probably that guy.
Do you know that crazy cat ladies, that there's a reason for that? It's the same reason that, like, it's a cat parasite, toxoplasmosis.
So you're saying it's a medical ailment?
It makes you aggressive.
on, man.
No, it makes you aggressive. Yeah. I bet a lot, like that's that term, cat lady, crazy cat lady, that's a real thing. That lady's got a parasite. She's got a brain parasite, toxoplasmosis.
Oh, you can't tell them that.
Oh, I bet I could test them.
Oh, bro,
I
dude.
could get a cheek swab. Hold that lady down. Give me a cheek swab. I guarantee you that lady's got it.
Bro, that lady, bro, I used to live with a dude, bro. I used to live with this dude, right? And I ended up doing fucking a lot of drugs or something and whatever. And I fucking cut a window into my closet, dude. And it was to the neighbor's apartment. I thought it went outside. I got kicked out.
Oh, my God.
But before that, I lived with this dude, and he would get really...
Imagine you're that lady in the apartment next door and you hear a saw. Somebody's gotten a hole in your fucking apartment.
Yeah, man,
That's the crazy thing about apartments, right?
What's the crazy thing about cocaine, dude? It's not
That
apartment
too.
has nothing to do with it, bro. I've been up for fucking 42 hours on drugs.
You want to hear something crazy? Trump, at the day of the election, Dana White told me he'd been up for 72 hours.
Unbelievable.
I go, how's that possible? He goes, dude, he's a freak. It's so weird.
Well, yeah, dude, I'll say some things here's things that, like, whatever you think about, there's things that the guy is as resilient. No one could go through all that shit. When the Justice Department started to fuck him over, that's when a lot of people were like, you know what? The only thing we should be able to believe in this country is at least the justice system. And if they're fucking him over...
Right.
And then he got shot at a couple of times, dude. He's a quarter of 50 Cent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's like... So it's like, what else does it, at a certain point, you just like, I gotta bet on this dog.
Yeah.
Even if it's like you don't even like him. It's like, this motherfucker, this dude, you gotta bet on that dog. If not, it's just bizarre, you know?
I mean, the guy gets up and says, fight, 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 after he got shot in the ear. He's not freaking out. He's like, oh my God, I got shot. Get me out of here. They're shooting. He looked, no, stop. Fight.
Yeah.
Fight.
Dude, I stubbed my toe. I called my assistant a faggot. It's like... So, yeah, there's something special about that guy,
And if you're lying about him, and I know you're lying about him, why am I supposed to trust you that you're lying for a good reason? Right? If you keep repeating these same hoaxes, they keep repeating. Obama was repeating it in one of his speeches. He said about those white supremacists, there's very fine men on both sides. That's not true.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Well, why? I don't understand why left-leaning media, which is mostly Jewish, are calling people white supremacists, dude.
Did you just say that?
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Left-wing media is mostly Jewish?
I mean, according to my Jewish friends, it is, But why do they hate white guys?
It's just woke things, man. It's just virtue woke bullshit. It's like
I just don't understand it.
Well, because the hierarchies have experienced a polar shift. Okay, so here's what it is. If you go back to the 1960s, the kind of racism that people faced, like before the race riots and all that, was horrific. Because it's just 100 years removed from slavery ending. And the echoes of that...
Oh, it's still in our genes.
Yes. But the echoes of that were much more prevalent then. And so black people were heavily discriminated against. Gay people were heavily discriminated against. People recognize that that's wrong. Young people go to universities. They get taught that it's wrong. They recognize the sins of the past, and then they overcorrect. And by overcorrecting, now you favor people that you think have been previously marginalized. So you give people, like Vivek calls it the tyranny of the oppressed. So the oppressed, the previously oppressed, now have a social hierarchy, they're a higher level. If you're a black trans woman, you get to say the things first at the meeting. Let the black trans woman talk. There's a hierarchy in all woke culture.
Right.
And if you are a white male who's heterosexual, you have to be non-binary, because otherwise you can't get in. You gotta be a they them, because then now you're marginalized. Like all you have to do is like change your pro. That's the lowest level of entry is non-binary straight man. You just say you're non-binary, and they're like, yeah, you just say I just don't feel like a man or a woman. Me like fuck chicks. You know what you're doing, you little chameleon.
Yeah, you're just being a little
around.
secret Care Bear or whatever.
You're sneaking around, but there's hierarchies. And gay people, because gay people have been previously oppressed. Gay people weren't even
Oh,
allowed.
yeah.
Even in 2013, up to then, Hillary Clinton and Obama both said that marriage should be between a man and a woman. We have to realize that this was like 11 fucking years ago. That was their political talking points. Marriage should be between a man and a woman. So now kids realize how stupid that is. Young kids generally have a much better sense of the errors of the past than we do. Unless we're paying attention as we get older, we pay more attention to what's going on before. But now kids immediately are aware of how fucked up colonial society has been, how they've conquered North America, killed the indigenous people. So they want to like recorrect things.
Oh yeah, if I was ever in office, dude, Native Americans are getting a lot of shit back immediately, dude.
Well, they already have casinos.
Huh?
They already have casinos.
Yeah, but did they want casinos? I want them to have back whatever they want.
Well,
They're
here's
getting
the
it
thing
back. They're
about
getting
that.
the
They were-
rivers back. They're getting the lakes back.
They were taking it from each other too. It's like
No, I
it's-
agree.
it's
Everybody
like
acts
you'd
like
have to
Native
fi-
Americans were like everybody's just like whistling and just
But hold
shaking
on.
hands, but
You
they were
would-
fighting.
Yeah, 100%. But you would have to figure out like who owned it like at that time.
Yeah.
And give it back to them, and then you would have to let all those other people try to kill them and get it back. Because if you want to go back to the old ways, that's the old ways. You want to go back to when the Comanche ran Texas. Like, okay, good luck. But you know what the Comanche's favorite thing was doing? Raiding other tribes. They loved that.
They
That
were
was their-
gangbangers.
Yeah, they were gangbangers. They would show up in other
Breaks my
tribes
heart.
and slaughter people. And that they wouldn't just slaughter people. They would torture them. They would cut their arms and legs off, throw them on a pile of fire. Nobody ever surrendered, ever, because they knew that there was no leniency. You're going to be tortured and killed.
Oh, so
There
you had to
was
fight to the death.
100%. Fight to the
Imagine
death.
not being able to surrender because you had no choice but to
Right.
fight to death. That's
The
wild.
concept of surrender was completely alien to Native Americans.
Yeah.
They fought to the fucking death, and they fought each other to the death. And there was battles between all of them, and they conquered and they made alliances, and you know, especially Little Bighorn, they all got together and fucked up Custer. But there's so many different tribes that conquered so many different, and then you'd have to go back to when.
Right, you're like when?
Well, you got it because you killed all these people. Let's go back to the Algonquins. Let's give it to the fucking Apaches. Let's get like, you'd have to figure it out, man. Like this was
Yeah.
this was a
You're going to have to tickle a dream
gigantic-
catcher to get the truth.
This was really like, in some ways, other than the violence, it was like a utopian existence. It was, these people followed the buffalo around, ate every part of it, used their skins to make their houses, traveled on horseback, following them around. They didn't even make art, dude. The Comanche didn't make art. They didn't make anything.
Why, they were just warriors?
Just warriors eating meat. All they did was eat buffalo and kill everybody else.
So if you so is it weird that we feel bad about that? Like, is that a trap? Like, that's what I'm wondering. Does that question make sense?
Well,
to
that
you?
was the way they lived. You know, I mean, is that better than drone bombs in Yemen? You know, when we sit here comfortably in this fucking Austin warehouse, is it better? Is that better? No. The whole thing is fucked. It's fucked that Gaza's going on. It's fucked that they're using these poor Ukrainians like fucking meat for the Russian war machine. The whole thing's crazy. It's all bad. But the crazy that was going on back then was a one-on-one crazy. It's a different kind of crazy. It was like there was an understanding that if you saw somebody and they had horses or they had these, that you're going to go kill them and take that thing from them. And if you knew that there was a camp and the camp was over the top of the ridge and they would be in bed at night, you would come in the middle of the night and slaughter everybody.
yeah, sneak
And
'em.
they did that to each other. They did that to each other. So it was a horrific way of existing.
Because sometimes there's this vision that you romanticize that
Right.
culture, right? I do that a lot. I romanticize things that I don't know about, right? Because there just seems like something like, oh, that's romantic or something. You know?
This was a culture of warriors.
It was fucking hide and go seek for real.
It was culture of warriors. Like this whole country was filled with
Poetons.
nomadic warriors. Yeah. And most of them got killed by fucking smallpox. That's what's the crazy.
Oh.
Most of them got killed by the flu and all sorts of diseases that came over with the Europeans.
How gay must that have felt, dude? You're a fucking warrior, right? Suddenly you get a fucking
Some
couple
dude
of bumps.
sneezes on you at the depot. You go to the trading depot to drop off some fucking skins. Some dude sneezes on you and that's a wrap.
Yeah, you're like,
Fuck.
you've been training all day, dude. And
Fuck.
some guy just fucking doesn't wash his feet for half an afternoon.
Or just came here off a boat. The stinky bitch was breathing shit air and drinking shit water. You know, like,
Dude.
can you imagine the hygiene on those boats?
Oh,
You're on a-
Columbus's ship. It was like the first Burning Man, dude. That place was a dump, dude. I heard the Penta didn't even have any chicks on it, dude.
It's like, there's an example. Columbus is an example.
Could you have done it?
I mean, probably if you lived back then, that would have been the thing to do because you would have been bored.
But you're in the. It's early morning.
You would
Couple
have
guys
wanted
show
to
up.
try. You would want to try to see what it looks like to go across the ocean. If you were a young man and you just needed something in your life and you knew the dudes did it, and you just eat beef jerky for 3 months and you make it across the ocean, and when you get to the other side, there's gold everywhere. They didn't even know where they were.
Yeah.
But if you read the accounts, there was a priest that traveled with them, some sort of religious man that traveled with them. That
Oh, yeah.
Like a detailed diary of the horrific things that Columbus's men did. They bashed babies on the rocks. They
Nuh-uh.
They told certain men
Why?
that they had to give them their weight in gold, and if they did, they would chop dudes' arms off in front of everybody. They enslaved these people and used them for their gold because these people had no use for gold. They didn't know how valuable gold was.
You mean when they got to the Americas?
Exactly. Yeah. They just slaughtered people. They just slaughtered people, dude. There's horrific depictions of what Columbus's people did.
I romanticize nature so much, and it's really vulgar, isn't it?
Well, it's just humans have always done this to each other and for all of human history. The
Right.
strong groups of men with weapons invade people that aren't prepared, and they take all their stuff and they conquer them. And it's always happened. It's the most common thing. If you go back and look at history, there's a bunch of common things. There's an increase in the complexity of architecture and the design of the cities. There's machines. All these different things improve. But along the way, the consistent thing is war. It's constantly happening from the beginning of time. As early as we know, tribes were battling other tribes. And back then, when there wasn't that many people, wasn't that many resources, and you were competing to see whose genes spread, it's just natural. You develop tools and weapons, and then that's ingrained in our fucking DNA. So here we are in 2024 with iPhone 16s and Starlink, and we're still locked into this tribal war mindset because that's how humans evolved.
Right.
And that's the scariest thing about being alive today, is that we're so advanced, we're so much more civilized than at any other point in human history, and yet same amount of people, if not more, are dying senselessly all the time.
Right, like we're civilized on the outside, but there's a part of us that will always be uncivilized.
Yeah, well, the part of it is war, right? And other parts of the world are not as calm as us. You know, there's parts of the world that are very fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
There's places of the world where you can't go without getting robbed or shot.
Yeah,
There's
Memphis, first of all. I'll say that.
Is Memphis that bad?
Memphis is bad, dude.
It's where Elvis came from.
Huh?
Isn't that where Elvis came from?
And he left,
Has it
too.
changed? Where's Graceland?
Actually, Graceland, you know what's crazy about Graceland, dude? It's
What?
in Memphis. And it's cool. You go out, they let you in the backyard after the smoke, and Elvis's grave is right there.
You could smoke right in front of Elvis's
You can
grave?
smoke 17 centimeters from Elvis's grave, or 80 centimeters.
That movie, that Elvis movie, was so good.
Which one? The one
With
about his
Tom Hanks,
girlfriend?
where Tom Hanks plays the Colonel. You didn't see that one?
Oh, yeah.
With that dude, what is his name? Austin?
Colonel
What's the
Winters or
fellow's
whatever?
name that played Elvis? Austin Butler is really good.
Yeah,
man.
that was good.
He nailed it. He was really good. You really believed that he was Elvis. What a crazy story.
Yeah.
Elvis was the first guy to get way too famous. The first guy that was just way too famous.
Yeah.
Like, there was no one that famous before Elvis.
No, there wasn't, dude. Well, yeah, there was. Jesus, probably. Who else?
Maybe Jesus.
Constantine.
I think Jesus got his rep, he got his really
Afterwards.
appreciation after he was gone.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, kind of. That's a good point, huh?
I mean, people love Kurt Cobain while he was alive, but I think they really appreciated him after he was dead. There's
Yeah, dude.
There's certain guys.
What do you think what do you what are you gonna do when what are you gonna do when you die, dude?
I'm not doing shit. I'll be dead.
All right. We'll see about that, huh?
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. That's what's interesting. Imagine if you really do go to heaven and St. Peter really is there with a book. You're like, this is crazy.
First thing you're gonna think is this dude's gay as fuck, I think.
With
dude.
that robe.
Yeah, dude, you
Like
roll
wearing
up.
a robe.
Some dude has a checklist or whatever.
Imagine
it's like
you're the most
trying to get into
enlightened
hide
being.
or whatever.
You're the most enlightened being ever, but you walk around with a robe on. Like, robes are stupid. I never want to wear a robe.
Hefner
Even if
wore a robe.
if I have to go to like a massage place, you got to wear a robe before you take the robe off. I'm like, okay, you're gonna see me in my underwear in 5 minutes, so why don't we just do it now?
It's flirting.
It's lingerie.
A robe, yeah, dude. A
But if
robe
you-
is just male lingerie.
Why would God be wearing a robe with a rope tie, bro? Don't you know about pants?
I don't know.
You can get yourself a pair of Origin stretchy jeans. They're great, man. They look like jeans, but they feel like fucking sweatpants. God, why you wearing a robe,
You
man?
think God's got that thing on him or what? What do you think?
Probably got a hog.
You think?
He created the universe. Yeah. Oh
But-
my God.
but it's
I
too
bet
big?
you would want it. I bet you would want it. If you saw it, you'd want it.
I wouldn't go up to it.
Imagine it just has a magical attraction. You're like, you're not even gay, but everybody's gay for God.
Hey, look, I'll tell you this. I might walk up to it, but I put sunglasses on
Listen,
first, dude.
If God's real, he made gay people. Anybody who thinks
Yeah.
gay is a choice, I think gay is a choice for some people. Let me be real clear about this. I think there's some people that are open-minded and say, I'll try being gay for a while. It's not me. Maybe it's you. Greg Fitzsimmons said he almost tried it, and he panicked at the last
Really?
minute and ran away. Yeah.
I wouldn't
he thought
do it.
he had
you have to
be
stay up late to
open-minded.
do it, I feel like. I feel like it's like
Yeah,
a late night
A lot of
activity.
gay stuff doesn't happen at 9 in the
Till
morning.
past 1.
Yeah.
Past 1 a.m. I like to get to bed at a decent hour.
My point is, God made gay people.
Yeah.
So it's clear, if God made everything, he made people that are gay. The craziest religious answer, like Ben Shapiro gave me this answer. He said he thinks you should don't do it because it's a sin, just like you want to murder people, but you don't murder them.
Yeah.
Like, bro, how much do you want to murder people? Like, it's like, because gay people want to fuck every day.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to, if you want to murder people every day, check yourself in. That's a crazy comparison. Like, the gay thing is literally your sexual expression. Like, you're attracted to other guys. So, like, if you're not attracted to other guys, are you sure God wrote that down? Like, are you 100% positive that God really thinks that's a bad idea? But yet he made people that have that urge.
Right. It wouldn't be fair if he did that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be right.
Right.
I think the craziest thing is, I think the first gay dude must have been like, what's going on, you know? Like he's sitting there with his wife or whatever, and his buddy comes over to like, to just look around or whatever, because they didn't have that much stuff back then. And his buddy comes over just to like look around or tell him about like an animal he saw or something, and he just starts thinking, man, I'm going to get this little rabbit.
I bet it existed from the jump. Little rabbit. Little rabbit?
Well, what
That's
do you
he thinks
think as a
about that
gay
guy?
dude?
Think you get that little rabbit? That's
I'm
what you
gonna
think?
get that little fucking booty rabbit.
Booty.
Huh?
I think gay guys have been
I'm
here
gonna
from the very
snort that
beginning.
I'm gonna snort that little fucking
You know why? Because I think human beings.
that little dirt oyster.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, bro. What do you think if the thoughts have to come into your head? Something puts the thoughts in you. I think it starts in the thoughts. I don't think it starts in the DNA.
Well, it might start in the DNA too. There was, I think, see if you can find this. I think it was University of Rome. They proposed a theory that there was a variation of the X chromosome that existed in women that are very promiscuous, and that these very promiscuous women had a disproportionate amount of gay sons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the idea is that these women are just they're so dick hungry that it literally passes on through their genes.
Where was it? Was it in Rhode? It wasn't in Rhode Island, was it?
No, but that could happen in Rhode Island. Providence would be a good place for that.
Isn't there like a gay mecca that's kind of there?
Yeah. Provincetown, I think. Is
Yeah,
that it?
Jeff.
Or is that
What's his name?
Massachusetts?
Used to party there. Jeff
think
from this comedy store.
I think Provincetown is Massachusetts. But I know what you're talking about. There's a thing in Rhode Island, and then there's Fire Island in New York. But I think their thought was that the same gene that made women like really promiscuous, they wanted a bunch of different sexual partners. That that it might be actually a gene thing. You see, the gene thing is weird, man, because Brett Weinstein explained this to me. He said, do you know the difference between a beautiful woman and a woman who's hot? And I said, no. Like, what's the difference? He goes, well, a beautiful woman is a woman that you would want to have a long-term relationship and raise children with.
Yeah.
And then a hot woman, like woman who's wearing like very skimpy clothes and very like looks like she's like really made up. The idea that that's attractive is that you could potentially spread your genes quickly without any consequences. So this person, right, you wouldn't have to have a relationship with that person, but it would give you an opportunity to spread your genes, like as primates.
Just spray and stray kind of thing.
say
like Monsanto
promiscuity
or
itself,
whatever.
Fertility, the amount of children they have, I think, or something.
Oh, I thought it was the promiscuous women. I think.
I'll show you the title.
Does it say that there?
It says that.
I hope that. Wonder if this is their interpretation. This is yeah, that's around the time. Gay genes survived evolution as it is carried by mothers who have more children. Right, but guess what? If you have more children, it means you like dick. I think they were talking about promiscuity, though. However, a study published by the Journal of Sexual Medicine found a correlation between gay men and their mothers and maternal aunts, who are prone to have significantly more children compared to the maternal relatives of straight men.
I think we need more gay men in some of these areas.
Well, hold on a second. Doesn't that make sense, though? That would make sense, like, in terms of, like, natural selection. Because if you're someone who's, like, over having kids, you
Okay.
have too many kids, you have, like, 10 children.
All right.
I would see how nature would be like, you know what? We don't need to spread these genes as much. Let's make a couple of these gay.
Right, nature's like let's even things out, right?
Right.
So yeah,
That
I
would
think
make sense.
nature wants people to
Balance.
Yes,
Balance.
nature wants balance.
Yeah, and if someone has 10 kids and everybody else has 10 kids, that could get out of hand real quick. So I could
Definitely.
see how if you have a lot of kids, nature would be like, you know what? Let me do this. What was that? Where was that study done from? University of Rome?
University of Padova in Italy.
Okay.
And just as there's people that's gay, there's people that are non-sexual at all, really.
100%. Which is stay out of the fight. You don't belong to 2A, 2 plus A.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. So what is it? It's QBD. What is it?
LGBTQ.
LGBTQ 2AI plus.
Wow.
A is asexual. Stay out of it.
Yeah.
Stay out of it. This is
Yeah.
not your fight.
Yeah, they got it. Some people.
It's not your fight.
Yeah, you're just like.
You don't even have sex with anybody.
Yeah. What if you're just jerking off at your house? Are you in that or what? Like, what is that? Who are those people?
Right. That's lonely sexual.
Yeah.
And L. I think they're gonna put robots in there.
You see that? You see that robot cutting hay the other day?
I did not.
Pull that up if you don't mind, Jimmy.
With a scythe like the Reaper? Like a Reaper?
Yeah, it was like
I don't want to see that.
a little bit of like a not a slave bot or whatever. But
We
it
were
was
talking
like
about robot bodyguards. That in the future you'll have robot bodyguards. You can go anywhere you want.
That'd be cool, but then like the second you start, you gotta run. They're gonna be like, "All right," and then they'll run. It's gonna take half a second. Half a second kills everything.
I bet they just pick you up and they run with you.
Wow.
They just carry you.
There we go, right here.
This is not real?
Oh, that's not real.
I mean,
Wow.
Jamie, you're a party pooper.
Look how it's moving.
Super real.
You see that pod where they're
Jamie,
killing?
that is so real.
Yeah,
By the
that's
way,
real. Go back.
100% that's coming. Okay?
Yeah, sure, but yeah. That video.
I mean, all these folks that are coming over here for jobs, there's a lot of those jobs that are going to be taken by, like, unskilled labor jobs are all going to be robots. So.
But don't you think at a certain point that we shouldn't have that? Like at a certain point, shouldn't AI? If it doesn't help us be human, that at a certain point we should stop it. That's how I feel like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
They
do you
should
feel
have
like
stopped
we're
it a
there
long time
now?
ago. Yeah. They should have stopped it a long time ago. If you want humans to survive, you should have stopped it a long time ago.
Yeah.
If you want the human race as it is now, you want this to stay, that doesn't make sense because you're making something way better. You're 100% going to make something and you're going to give it autonomy and you're going to give it sentience. And it's going to be infinitely smarter than us. It's not going to be restricted by any biological needs. It's not going to be greedy. It's not going to be mean. It's not going to be malicious. But it might decide we're useless. It might decide that it definitely doesn't need us polluting the ocean and fucking up the fucking rivers. And
It's risky.
yeah, nuclear waste. It's going to be like, what are you doing, you morons? Why are you idiots cracking atoms? Stay out of that.
Like you don't even know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Here's free porn and a fucking VR mask. Just you give you free food. and
Have a
just
blast, yeah.
Let you stop breeding.
Well,
Our population will just drop off a cliff.
I saw what were we talking about a second ago?
Robots.
Yeah. Oh, they're
You want
killing
another hit
people
of
at the airport.
You want another hit of
Yeah, I'll
this?
take another one, man. I need another soda or something. You got anything on you in here?
We got coffee. You want some
Take another
coffee?
Kill Cliff if you got one.
Well, Jamie, go get you one. Want some coffee?
Do you mind? Is that coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
a
try
clean,
some.
It's a clean mug.
It is? It's warm coffee, eh?
Just came out of the dishwasher.
Oh, hell yeah. It's like the Civil War.
Why do you pour it with one hand trapped underneath that arm? You're freaking me out.
Challenging myself, dude.
That is wrist stability. That was all wrist. You didn't move your arm at all, dude. You were all wrist on that game.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, man.
Thank you.
The wrist is the weakest link. You ever do like wrist curls? I'm shocked at how weak bitch ass my wrists are.
Oh,
when
it's
I do wrist
amazing.
curls.
Well, it's amazing whenever you take like MMA,
Like a
any
10-pound
jiu-jitsu classes, how the first thing you start to learn is just control the wrist. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Changes
Yeah.
everything.
Especially guys with big hands. If
Yeah.
you could grab like a guy with a basketball player size hands. There's this dude named Semi Schilt. He used to fight in the UFC. Semi Schilt. He was 7 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And the problem with Semi is if you got on top of him, he just grabs your wrists. You can't get your hands free. Like this motherfucker. Because he had these fucking baseball mitts for hands. He just wrapped his hands around you. That's Semi Schilt.
Wow.
Yeah. He was K1 Grand Prix winner.
Oh my God, he looks like Zach Bryan a little.
7 foot tall. He was a beast, dude. Fought in MMA too. Wasn't a good grappler, unfortunately. That was kind of his downfall, but had a nasty front kick to the body. Yeah, he fought Peter Ertz. He fought everybody, man. Semi was good, and he was real tall and real good at like utilizing that height.
Wow. It would seem like I would be scared to be that tall in MMA because there'd be more of you to be attacked by.
Sort of, but you're way further away. You know, like the whole thing is distance, where you could effectively strike them and they can't strike you.
Yeah.
Like so a guy built like John Jones has the perfect fighter's frame because he's still very strong. He has a lot of muscle, but he's also long and lean. So he's not relatively bulky compared to his weight because he's long and stretched out.
Yeah.
So he can hit you from here, and you can only hit him from here. This amount of distance is so huge. If you have a distance of like that much between where a guy can hit you and you can't hit him, you have to cross that, and you're so vulnerable while crossing that. And if a guy's a good counter striker and he's active and he's long, they're so hard to get in on. So a guy like John, that's always going to be an advantage. And then with John, if you do get in on him, that's no picnic because he's an elite grappler. So he's going to strangle you. He's going to throw you to the ground. So like you're fucked. You're in this fuck zone. On the outside, he's kicking the shit out of your knees. John was one of the nastiest, like side kicking people's knees out. Yeah.
Most dangerous guy.
Very dangerous.
People say that he's Dana White's favorite fighter. Is that the truth, do you think? Or is that just
Dana White says he's the greatest of all time.
Right.
Which a lot of people say.
Yeah.
I go back and forth on what I think the greatest of all time means, but if you want to...
That's a good question.
If you want to say, like, who dominated his division longer than anybody, who beat everybody that was ever any good in his division, and who never lost, that's John Jones. The only time you could say he had a controversial decision was the Dominic Reyes fight. That was Dominic Reyes was coming up. He was in his prime. It was a really good fight, a really close fight. But John won what I think was a split decision. And then he had a split decision with Thiago Santos. But Thiago Santos, he blew out both of Thiago's knees. Thiago needed knee surgery on both of his knees after that fight. I think that was a split decision.
That's dangerous.
But the bottom line is John won all those fights. And then, you know, he wins the heavyweight title too. It's tough to argue he's not the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I say, you know, if you had to only pick one, I would pick John. But I don't like only picking one because there's a bunch of reasons why other guys are in this elite class of being considered as possibly the greatest of all time. I always say Mighty Mouse. Because Mighty Mouse would do things where you're like, what the fuck did he just do? When he fought Ray Borg, he tossed him in the air and caught him in a fucking armbar on the way down.
Oh, God.
You ever see that?
No, I've never seen that.
It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen a guy do inside the cage. He threw this dude through the air and caught a flying armbar in the air. Fuck. It's so fast. Like, when it turned, to me, it's like, when I just think, watch this. Throws him, boom.
Oh!
Bro.
Wow, dude. Bro. If that dude ain't good at gift wrapping, you got the wrong guy,
You know
bro.
how crazy that is? Look how crazy this is. In the middle of the air, he switches to an armbar on an elite fighter in a world championship fight. That's like a stunt. That's like a stunt move. If you saw that in a movie, you'd be like, shut the fuck up. Nobody can do that.
Right.
He did it in an MMA championship fight where he was dominating the fight.
Yeah, it's crazy how many of those guys would be like, or like Hollywood stuntman, you know?
And then you also gotta, like, if you just look on record, this is where it gets crazy. If you just look on record of accomplishments against champions, you kind of have to put Alex Pereira already in the conversation of potential greatest of all time, which is so crazy. He's one of only 3 two-division champions, right? How many have been to? You have Connor, you have DC, you have Alex. I think that's it.
No.
No, I think that's it. Amanda Nunes. That doesn't really count because 45. It does count, but 45 is kind of a non-existent weight class. It kind of doesn't exist.
He's a hunter.
She was fighting girls that could have fought 35. It's real, but like 45 is the most. 145 for women is the most shallow division in MMA. So yes, you would say Amanda too. So it's a small percentage of people that have achieved that, and he achieved it in record time. He's knocked out so many fucking champions. Knocked out Jamal Hill, beat the shit out of Yuri Prohaska, knocked him out in the second fight.
That was crazy.
Bro.
Hunted him.
Bro.
That guy's unbelievable watching him.
He's a fucking monster, dude. He's a monster.
Force.
He's a force. What he did to Khalil Roundtree was a clinic.
Khalil's amazing,
He's amazing. To do that to a guy like Khalil, like that was a clinic in like elite world class MMA.
And at first, the first 2 rounds, you're like, what is this like? What's going on?
Yeah.
Khalil's in it. They're both in it. But then you start to see that Pereira's hunting. It's like this hunting.
Yeah, the pressure never ends.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God. It's like literally watching one of those snakes. Like a snake when they're just kind of like, did you see that snake that ate that deer? It was like a 77-pound deer or whatever.
Yeah, I did see that.
You did?
Of course. I see all that shit.
Shit's crazy, dude. Bring that up. Bring that up with that big dog, man.
I'm glad he says snake because that's kind of how Pereira moves. He moves like a snake. Like he pulls back and then he strikes forward. He pulls back. He's a master at just getting right outside of your shots, and then his shots are coming in right behind him.
And he operates at his own speed. He's almost like Alvin Kamara is a football player that does that. He operates at it's a speed you've never seen. It looks normal, but it's different.
Well, it varies a lot too. Like sometimes he moves fast and sometimes he moves slow. It's very hypnotic.
Yes, it's hypnotic.
It's also unique. He's got a unique frame, so he kind of he moves different on design. Wow. Like he doesn't switch his hips when he throws kicks, so you don't see him come until it's too late.
Right.
So he's standing in front of you, and when he kicks, there's no movement of his shoulders. He's just throwing these kicks out, and they land. And they're not as hard as if he put his whole body into it, but it's hard enough where you're like, oh no. And you get hit with a couple of those, 3, 4, 5 of those. All of a sudden you're like, I can't walk anymore, and now he's hunting you, and he's hunting you.
Yeah.
See, I would put him already in the conversation. I don't think he's better than John Jones, greatest of all time, but I already put him in the conversation as a potential greatest of all time nominee. I think he's right there.
He's the male Katniss Everdeen,
and
dude.
He's only been in MMA for a few years.
He's a hunter.
And he's only been in the UFC for a few years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. A couple of MMA fights other than the UFC, and then the UFC for this run at the top of the division, just smashing everyone to obliterate. So then you got Khabib, undefeated.
Oh, yeah, so many greats.
You know,
what is the
George
definition of the
St. Pierre,
greatest?
George St. Pierre, another 2-division champion. That's right. George won at 85 as well. I almost forgot George. Yeah, so George won greatest of all times for sure. You put him in that conversation.
I got to see him in Canada.
Anderson in his prime. Is in that conversation. You got to look at them like in the moment. Whenever there's a moment, a time period of like this amount of years to that amount of years, well, let's all agree that this is the prime. Forget about when they should have retired. Let that go.
Yeah.
Just talk about them when they're at their best. Who is the best?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because everybody that's doing great, you want to stay as long as you can. It would be weird if you didn't, probably.
But you can't judge them by how they were when they should have gotten out. Because it's just a foolish endeavor. They shouldn't have been fighting a killer at 42 years old, natural.
And it's timing, too.
Yeah, there's just a lot. When fighters fight late into their career, you gotta kind of erase that when you think about their ultimate expression.
Yeah.
I feel like their prime is their ultimate. It's everything they could do. They did everything right. They crossed every T. They measured all their food. They fucking did the cryo chamber, and they did saunas every day and got massages and were sparring and doing strength and conditioning drills. And they were going over moves with their coaches. They had a battle plan. Everything. So those guys, you can only do that for so long. That's like a 9-year at the best. When you're at the, so you gotta look like in that window, like Fedor in Pride. You gotta look in that window. Don't look at Fedor now and guys are knocking him out, and it's just not the same. He's an old guy. He's been beaten up a bunch of times. He's still a bad motherfucker, but it's not that dude who was running Pride in the early 2000s.
Right. It's
look
not
at that
fair.
guy. Yeah, you got to look at them when they're in BJ Penn at his best.
Yeah.
The BJ Penn for a few years, I say, is as good as
I know you
anybody's
talk about
ever
him a
fought.
lot. I've heard you speak about
Dude,
him a lot.
you just had us in his when he was in his prime. It was just a matter of, was BJ going to get him in the first round? Was he going to get him in the second round? BJ was hyper aggressive and just unbelievably talented.
I wasn't watching back then.
And dexterity, dude. He had crazy dexterity.
He's the governor of Maui, isn't he? Or...
No. He was running for the governor of Hawaii.
Did he win?
No, he didn't win.
Oh.
No.
I went to Maui not too long ago, maybe 4 months ago.
Maui's awesome.
Yeah, it's all. But we went to the place where the hurricane, where the fires were.
Fires.
Blew my mind, man.
It's still nothing, right?
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was unbelievable to see what had occurred, you know, and just like, it's crazy how quickly we, just as like, how we move past certain tragedies, you know, like we don't mean to. It's just the news cycle does, and you know, we get kind of addicted to the news cycle, and so then it's kind of hard, you know. But it was.
I'll tell you one thing. The way the administration handled that, I think, put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, while at the same time they're sending all that money to Ukraine. I think that was a big problem with the Biden administration when they did that. I think you can't do that. You can't, while you're sending all this money overseas, ignore the people that are here. Because then it's like, why are you deciding in this manner that you don't want to help people that were hit with one of the biggest wildfire tragedies ever? Why are you deciding to give them $700?
Especially in one of the most beautiful places that our country has to even exist. It's
Not
like,
only that, but you're not protecting them from potential land grabs, right? Because one of the things that's going on with this is like they got to do insurance and they go through insurance and this and that. But meanwhile, these people are still paying mortgages. So like, what happens?
and it's hard to figure out there, Joe, because a lot of people, they live as like second and third generations, all living in the same home.
Right.
And they've also, a lot of, you know how Hawaii is, they'll like take little pieces of land. It's like, you know, people will build like something small and just live in somebody else's yard, that kind of thing. It's very like, you know.
Well, there's only so much land, but the problem is the land where that fire hit was very valuable.
Oh yeah, it's like this perfect like slope heading looking down at the
so,
ocean.
What I would be fearful of, and if I was someone that was working in the government that wanted to protect people from being victimized, I would say, hey, let's make sure that this land doesn't get snatched up.
Right.
Let's make sure that these people get their land back.
That'd be the first thing I would say.
Like if they all want to sell out to a resort and they make a decision on their own, you know, that's one thing. But if they get hit with a wildfire, and then all of a sudden it takes forever for them to rebuild, they don't have the finances to rebuild. Maybe there's a struggle with insurance. Maybe, who knows? Who knows? Maybe you didn't pay your insurance that month. Who knows? And now all of a sudden this land gets snatched up, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because if they just like. One of the things that the governor was talking about was like turning it into a park or something like that. What did he say? Acquiring it for the state? What was his exact term that he said? But he said it like right after the tragedy. It was like, dude.
This is not the time to say it.
It's not the time to ever say it. It's not the time to ever say you're going to take people's land and turn it into a park because they just got hit by a fire. So now you used to live in this amazing place with a killer view. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Now the government's going to take your land. Why? Because you got in a tragedy.
What? Yeah.
Like I got double fucked? You got double fucked. You don't even get to keep the land? Like you can't even rebuild there? No, not anymore. There was a tragedy here. Like, wait a minute.
Well, I think that's a weird thing when you don't feel like as a person that your government is going to support you. I think that's probably like a feeling why.
Bro, that sounds like the opposite. It's like your government's trying to rob you.
Right.
Like, did you find it? Find the quote that he said? You got to read the quote, because the quote is like, it made so many Hawaiians so pissed off. Tulsi was so pissed off. BJ was pissed off.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, this is crazy. Like, how can you say that right after a tragedy like this?
Yeah, I remember I went there. I just walked up to the fire department that was like up the hill from there.
Oh, man.
And I just walked up and I was like, hey, I would like to, is there any way that I could go see what happened?
When I was looking for it, this says that the video is shortened and it makes the comments distorted.
It distorts Hawaii governor's comments about the state buying land in Lahaina. So what did he actually say, though? I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we could put it into workforce housing, to put it back to families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who are lost. We want this to be something that we remember after the pain passes as a magic place, and Lahaina will rebuild The tragedy right now is the loss of life. The buildings can be rebuilt over time. Even the banyan tree may survive. But we don't want this to become a clear space where then, yes, people from overseas come and decide they're going to take it. The state will take it and preserve it first.
So maybe some of their goal was to preserve it.
Hold on a second. Say that again. Scroll back. This is interesting. We don't want this to become a clear space where then, yes, people from overseas come and decide they're going to take it. The state will take it and preserve it first. I think what they're probably worried about then is the banks grabbing it. So them saying that the state could take the land might be to prevent the banks from grabbing it and selling it and putting something there. But it still seems like overreach if you're living in the fucking place where the state's going to take the land.
Well, it would be very scary as just a regular person. Like,
yeah.
So I'm either going to lose my land from to here or to here.
Right. Like, where am I going now? Like, what am I doing? You know? And you're not hearing anything about it.
Yeah, you just don't anymore.
We looked it up once. There was a time where the government accidentally oversent money to Ukraine. They sent them $6 billion they shouldn't have sent. Yeah. So we looked up how much would it have cost to rebuild every house in Maui from the fires. It's $5 billion. So the extra money that they accidentally sent to Ukraine, they could have sent there and rebuilt every house and had $1 billion left over. But we give you $700.
Unreal.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Like, if you want us to pretend that we're all on the same team, you got to treat us all like we're on the same team. You can't really be throwing all this money into Ukraine, and then there's places in America that suck, and you're not doing anything to help these folks. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's just
nuts.
and people say like, well, your tax dollars don't affect it, but at a certain point, it's not even about it's just like, do you not like? If I'm an American and I'm contributing to this business by being an American and being part of the system, does the system not care about me, you know? But I guess everybody thinks about that in different ways, so.
Well, I think whenever you have a system,
I'm out of my mind.
System's a bunch of people. And so when you have a bunch of people, an enormous amount of people, it's too many people to think about as individuals. You think about it as numbers. And that's like the sort of sociopath version of a government. They just think of you as a number.
Yeah. But when people start to lose their like if you start to lose your sense of being an American, that's big for a lot of people, right? Like, so then it's a sense of purpose, right? One of the senses of purposes I feel like that we get, or like having a job, having a family, or somebody that loves you or that you love, or having being a part of a country, right? Being a part of a fabric of a society.
Right.
And when those things start to erode, some of those things, and if you don't have any other ones to back it up, then people get really rogue, you know?
Yeah. Well, they get rogue, especially if they've been told by the mainstream media forever that if one side wins, you're going to be in a right-wing fascist dictatorship.
Yeah,
and
that just fucking pisses me off. I don't understand that. That should be a crime.
It should be. Well, it's at the very least, it's like slanderous. Like, it's not true. You can't back that up. It's not true. Like, you're saying something that we have evidence of 4 years of him being a president and not doing that.
And what does fascist mean?
Let's look up the actual definition. But there's a bunch of different versions of it. It's usually connected to a right-wing authoritarian ideology and the power of the state over people. And it gets twisted around a lot because it's also, you could also say it's fascist to impose certain ideas on people, demand certain speech, which would make a lot of left-wing people fascist as well. Far-right authoritarian and utilitarian ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and economy opposed to anarchism, democracy, pluralism, egalitarianism, liberalism, socialism, and Marxism. Fascism is placed on the far right wing within the traditional left-right wing spectrum.
Who's doing all that?
No one is. So it's like, it's a bullshit term that you're throwing on a guy who has a different political philosophy than you. Put it back up again, please. It's like, there's real fascists in the world. There's really dangerous people. That guy's not. He's got a big ego. He says ridiculous things.
Who are you talking about?
Trump. He doesn't behave like a guy that you think of in a traditional sense of being the president. But
No, he just seems like just an older guy who kind of has likes being Donald Trump.
I think he
and
loves
is-
being Donald Trump. But I think he's got some good ideas that a lot of businessmen agree with.
Well, I think you need a businessman
Yeah.
to do this. It's not a. We don't live in this Care Bear world anymore. Our politics, it's become a dirty fucking business.
Yeah.
So I think you want a businessman in there. Like, I don't care if somebody's attitude. Can the guy do business? Then that's who because it's all business now. Like it's been sold out. It's like, I don't feel like it's this. I don't know. Does that make any sense, dude? Sorry, dude. I'm fucking having a day.
No, don't apologize. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it is business.
But it's like you want a shrewd businessman. I don't need Mary Poppins in there, right?
Right.
I don't need somebody to tell me everything's okay. I need just I need somebody to make our fucking food safe. I need somebody to make our streets safe.
Right.
And that's all I really need. Like,
Right.
I feel like if I'm paying taxes, then those are the things that I should expect that my FDA and that my police department, which I'm paying for, are going to be able to make sure that I can raise a family and raise them healthily and make it home from work to see my children. I feel like I don't have any children yet, but I already feel, that's what I feel like people want. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah, I think most people feel the same way. They just want to be safe and happy. RFK Jr. tweeted something. See if we can find that.
Well, Adam McKay had a great tweet.
But
Great tweet.
RFK treated like a message to, what is it, the RFK one?
Yeah, it's long, right?
Yeah. What's the matter?
Just having the worst day today, man.
I got it right here if you want it, Jamie.
Sorry, being a downer.
No, you're not being a downer. But you
This
keep.
wasn't it. This,
That's
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry, man.
Look at that. FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chelating compounds, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, vitamins, clean food, sunshine, exercise, nutraceuticals, and anything else that advances human health and can't be patented by pharma. If you work for the FDA and are a part of this corrupt system, I have two messages for you. Number one, preserve your records, and number two, pack your bags. Whoa. That's what's crazy
awesome.
about Trump winning. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
Then you
love
got
this.
people like Tulsi. That's that's the type of person you want. Congresswoman
Yeah.
for 8 years, like impeccable character. And then you've got Vivek, who's a genius. You got J.D. Vance, who's fucking brilliant as well.
Oh, he's great.
So you have
Neat
a
guy.
bunch of good people with him this go around.
Well, yeah, it's like
We gotta get people off each other's necks, man. That's what we gotta do. We gotta get people to stop attacking each other. It's so crazy.
Well, I felt a sense of even after the election was over, I felt like everything just felt kind of calm.
Yeah, well, it's a team thing, dude. It's like your team lost. It really is. It's these people that are super addicted to politics. They're like people who don't follow sports.
Yeah.
Never played any games. This is the way they compete. They compete for the most important thing, like who gets to dictate the tone of the country.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I've never expected politics to have any effect on my life. Even when I was a kid, I didn't. My mom told us don't ever depend on the government for anything. It's like you have to do it. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like they used to have some rich dude or whatever. Like our street, it would cut between the highway and this other road where people would go, and so they had a guy who was a veterinarian or whatever, and he would go down our street. He would stop and throw out these he was a veterinarian, and he would throw out animal carcasses into our ditch and shit, right? So
Jesus Christ, like dead cats and shit.
yeah, dead animals, different animals, nothing really, I would say medium size, probably 32 waist and lower, right?
Right.
He would throw those bitches out into the fucking, I guess to just get rid of them. And our neighborhood was the poor neighborhood, so it was who gives a fuck about these people, right?
What an asshole.
Totally. But we
Just throw them on the streets?
throw them in the ditch. But we call the police, and they'd be like, yeah, we'll help. And they would never come, And my mom was like, don't ever, I remember telling her, do not ever expect the government to fucking help you do anything. You have to do shit yourself,
Also, cops don't want to take dead animals and fucking pick it up and put it in a bag. That's not what they signed up for.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then
I mean, if
go
they're not busy.
investigate let's see what kind of animal is this. To
Yeah, it was
investigate
this
the local
veterinarian, and he would just throw those bitches. And sometimes it would be, you know, after they died or whatever, like, after they, like, you know, after the bones got blanched or whatever by the sun, we would fucking throw, you know, do, like, games or shit, but nothing. What? Or, you know, throw them at each other. You fucking do.
You guys are throwing bones at each other?
You fucking 6 rib cages there, yeah. You're fucking, bro, welcome to Haiti, dude.
That's
it was
probably why
fucking
you don't get
wild.
sick a lot. You got immunized by all the bacteria and finding dead animals.
It got, I mean, we had a good time. But nothing like that snake had in that ditch. Bring that thing back up, dude.
I wonder how many fucking kids that get helicopter parented get allergic to more shit because they don't get exposed to things. They're not crawling around, playing in dirt and shit. All that stuff's probably got to be good for your body, right? When you're little kids, especially playing in dirt, playing outside.
Oh, yeah, if you're just sheltered or whatever.
Yeah, just for your biome, it's got to be good for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was in our biome or whatever. You know, I gotta ask my mom, I guess. Yeah, that snake was crazy. That's the crazy thing to me, man, is seeing a snake eat something like that.
Do you know how many snakes there are in the Everglades? There's more
Let me guess.
pythons. More pythons in the Everglades.
I would guess 150. Oh, no, that's even low, I bet. I would bet 200,000.
500. Wow. That's just a rough estimation. They could be off by a factor of who fucking knows. They don't really know. It's dense jungle.
Yeah, and the guy you're asking is probably like, yeah, it's probably 5. You know what
I
I'm
had this
saying?
dude in here, Python Cowboy. He goes and hunts for him. He's got a dog, and the dog will find the nests.
Let's
And
just
you
say
go
that.
in there, he's pulling these giant ass pythons out of nests.
That
filled with
dog's been
eggs.
sexually assaulted, I bet. I'll say that, dude.
That dog's a psychopath. It's going after something that could easily swallow it. Yeah,
Dude, that's a 77-pound deer. You see that?
Yeah,
that
dude.
that thing is a damn 6th grader, dude.
they eat alligators.
That's crazy.
This is the crazy thing. Because of the introduction of pythons into the Everglades,
Yeah.
90% of all the mammals
Yeah.
are missing. There's no mammals anymore.
Oh, they ate them all.
They ate them all. There's 90% are missing.
How long does it take a snake to eat something that big?
Well, the thing is the number of snakes. Like, it's the perfect environment for those animals. Like, it's like they just got dropped off in paradise. Nothing eats them. There's no crocodiles.
Snakes, yeah, they're living.
Yeah. So
But-
some alligators must eat some of them.
But how long does it take a snake to eat something?
Look at this. 2012 study found that populations of raccoon had declined 99.3%, opossums 98.9%, and bobcats 87.5% since 1997. Marsh rabbits, cottontail rabbits, and foxes effectively disappeared over that time.
Got him.
So they've essentially eradicated all the rabbits and the foxes.
But how long does it, like, I mean, yeah, it's unbelievable. But how long, that's Satan working as well. And how long does it take? How long does it take a snake to digest? Like, how long does it
That's a
take
good
once it gets
question.
that deer?
That's
right?
a good question. I wonder. I know that,
Like, is it days or is it like weeks?
let's guess.
Okay.
A full deer. 1 week. I say 1 week.
Ooh, that's a pretty good guess. I would
Because
say.
there's like antlers and shit and hooves.
Yeah, yeah. Wish I guessed that.
Do you
Let
think
me
they swallow the antlers? Do they go for the bucks and swallow antlers?
Well, I
Can
bet.
you imagine swallowing? You feel like such an asshole when the antler was going down. You'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe I swallowed the antler. It's gonna take forever to
Ever.
break down. You're just gonna be rolling around with antlers inside your chest forever. Oh, everywhere you go, ow, ow! Just the
There's
revenge of that
no
deer.
comfortable way to sleep.
And what do they do with the antlers, man?
Well, they must die. I'm sure they just get to that point, and the rest of the body is
Well, the antler is
Ceased.
just bone, but it's so pokey. Like, look at it.
I would bet 3
Isn't that the-
weeks.
Isn't that the wildest thing nature does, dude? Nature gives them weapons for a few months. This is what happens with a deer. Like,
Okay.
and when they stop breeding, these fall off every year. So these, you find them on the ground. They call them
So you can,
sheds.
so you can
Those
only
sheds
defend
on-
yourself while you're breeding.
Exactly. And it's offensive as much as it's defensive. They run at each other and clash. You see them fighting. It happens all the time. It's pretty fucking cool. They go after each other and just fuck each other up. And
Yeah, they'll see them sometimes hooked together. Yeah, I mean, nature's dangerous. Nature is really unbelievable. That's the number one person in the world.
I saw a horrible video. of these two deer that got locked together. So they're clashing antlers, they got locked together, and one of them got eaten by a coyote. So one was still alive, connected to this body, couldn't get away, while the other one got torn apart by a coyote. And it was just dumb luck that the coyotes picked him versus that, because neither one of them can get away. The coyotes recognized that they were locked into each other and just picked one and went after him, just gutted him.
That's like when you're in a threesome but nobody wants to touch you, kind of, you know?
Thing.
He's trying to eat one with antlers and
Got fucked up. Oh, God.
Oh, it cut his own body open?
Bails on it.
Oh, it split his body wide open. Oh, my God. Look at his mouth. He's got the antlers stuck through his fucking jaw.
I would hate some. I hate it when people take.
Oh, he slid off of it. Wow.
I hate it when people take a long time to eat, you know?
Oh, it went right through him.
Yeah.
But don't you hate that, though? Like when you're eating and somebody, you're done eating and they're still eating?
That doesn't bother me at all. That
But-
bothers you?
Yeah.
Why? It doesn't bother me even a little bit.
Really?
No.
Yeah, like you're at a restaurant and they're done, right? They're done and you have to you're done. And they're
Right,
still
they're
just.
still eating.
Yeah.
Well, just talk to them.
Yeah, but then you feel like you have to pretend like you're still like scraping your bowl or whatever.
No.
You're like,
No. You're thinking too much.
I think it's crazy to sit there and watch somebody eat. That's
Do
fucking.
you?
Yeah, bro.
Why?
Cause dude, they're eating.
Yeah, but you were eating with them too.
Yeah, but you're done.
So what?
Now you're just gonna fucking look at
I'm just gonna look at them. Like, how is it? Tell me about each bite.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like if somebody's already, I don't like when people eat real slow.
Okay.
It makes me nervous.
Well, you should just like be real clear about that before you go out with someone.
Like, let's eat
Like,
it.
hey, like we can eat together, but I got this thing. Yeah. Like when I'm done, you're done. Imagine if you like super reasonable boyfriend in every other way, but you just had this rule: when I'm done eating, no one eats. And she's like, "Well, this is bullshit. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I can't kick it. I have a tick. I have a psychological problem. I can't just sit there. So when I'm done eating, you have to be done.
Hey.
And I don't eat fast. But I'm warning you, when that fucking bell rings,
Hey, Bon Appetit, time's up.
all forks are off the table.
Bon Appetit, time's up, dude.
That would be the weirdest thing that you're obsessed with. You have to end at the exact same time. Last bite.
That kind of yeah, that would make me, that kind of stuff, some little things kind of make me uncomfortable, dude. But that, what else was I thinking about?
Pythons.
Yeah, pythons, whales or whatever, big animals. Dude, it's crazy like how they have all those Airbnbs now where it's like you can stay in like a hollowed out whale carcass out here on the spot. You know, it's like Airbnbs, bring up some Airbnbs, please, sir. They've gotten weird. It's like, welcome to this, welcome to this 2-story whale carcass down here at Punta Verde, Mexico. They make up, it's like, Punta. Every month there's a new Punta in Mexico. You're like, what the fuck are we doing?
You renamed a city.
Every time it's like, welcome to fucking Punta Pescado, Mexico. You want to stay in this 2-bedroom.
You can stay in that? It's a potato. It's a giant potato. What is that? What did they call it? Okay, 10 weirdest Airbnb listings let you sleep in a shoe, an elephant, and a flying saucer. Yo, let's go to the flying saucer. Oh, shit. I want to stay there.
That's yours, dude.
Bro, if I wasn't married, I'd have the stupidest house. My house would, I'd either have it built into the side of a hill like The Hobbit.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be kind of dope. Or I would go full spaceship.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a house where a 16-year-old boy would see it and be like, dude. Yeah, just appear to the child in you.
Like Kid
Have a
Rock's vibe.
Total
Totally.
Kid Rock's vibe.
But
But Kid
dude-
Rock's White House, I maintain, is the coolest celebrity house I've ever been to.
It's one of one, man.
It's not just one of one. He's the only one that would even think about doing that. It's like him and maybe John Daly would build a fucking White House.
John Daly's unbelievable, dude.
awesome.
Every time I go somewhere, every time he's there, you get an ambulance takes him home. It's fucking unbelievable, dude. Every time I'm there, It's almost like he hits a hole in heaven, dude. I'm like, this motherfucker's headed. One time, the ambulance came. They came in to look for him. He went out and sat in the ambulance to ride home with them, bro.
Oh my God.
And they're in the place, and they're like, where is he? And we're like,
There's something everybody
Greens and
loves
regulation.
about the overweight dude who's really
Yeah.
good at a game.
Dude, did you see that golfer girl though? The girl that smokes, the female John Daly, dude.
No.
Yeah, puffer.
hot?
Oh yeah.
She
buddy.
smokes cigarettes?
Yeah.
She's hot? Whoa.
Welcome.
Theo's love.
Welcome to 1984.
It's coming back.
Let's
Yeah,
do it,
Let's
dude.
go.
Because I got to get a damn wife, Joe Rogan.
That's your move. Get yourself a golfer wife. Someone. Oh, look at that. Smoking cigarettes, looking hot.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Huh?
Ooh, baby.
Oh, fuck.
And smoking in front of everybody, too.
Yeah. Trip starts on the.
Yeah.
Is she from England?
Yeah.
Ah, there you go.
Puffer McGavin,
They
dude.
over there, they just fucking smoke. They smoke a lot more over there. Everybody's got a goddamn cigarette.
Oh, yeah. I'll smoke that lady.
I bet you will.
Sorry, that's insane. That sounds
John
like a death
Daly's
threat.
like-
Also, man, she could be married. I have no
yeah,
idea,
right?
dude.
Don't be rude. The
Yeah,
fuck's
sorry,
wrong
miss.
with you, bro?
I don't know. I'm just fucking... Everything's high-strung today.
There was a professional pool player. His
I'm on
name was
tour it all.
Kid Delicious. And everybody loved him because he was this big fat dude who played really good. But it was the big fat guy thing that people liked. Like,
Right.
oh, you don't have to be a fucking athlete.
to be any
You
good.
don't have to be a guy eating salads and
Yeah.
fucking getting up in the morning doing yoga before you come to the pool hall.
Yeah.
No. This guy is out there eating hot dogs. That was Kid Delicious.
Yeah.
There's a great book about him.
Yep.
John Wertheim, I think his name, Running the Table. Yeah.
Yeah, people love short-term fats, man. There's something about it. If you know there's a bigger guy and you know you think he's not going to live long, there's an exceptional amount of love that goes into them immediately.
But John Daly back in the day wasn't fat. He was
Oh,
like an
no.
athlete. This is just a lifetime of like living hard.
Oh, he's a
Look
fucking...
at him, like right there. He was a fucking stout dude.
Oh, he looks great. No, John Daly's an exceptional guy. Great storyteller. He's a fucking... He's the Santa Claus of every 7-Eleven I've ever been to.
Look at that hair. But he's a guy that's been playing golf for like how many fucking years now, you know?
I don't know.
You know the
definitely.
feel you must have of that ball playing professional golf for all those years.
Yeah. He'll hit a 68 in an ICU, dude. This guy's one of a kind, I feel like. You know? Nobody could do it like him. He's exceptional.
All he drinks is Diet Coke.
Yeah,
He
sure.
doesn't like water.
Yeah. He likes things other than Diet
I'm
Coke,
sure, but
though.
he doesn't drink water.
No, he's
I'm
great,
sure he drinks
man.
alcohol too.
Yeah, don't you want to stay at this don't you want to stay in this hollowed out moose carcass out here in Bend, Oregon? It's
Don't you want to stay in our treehouse?
it's like,
Who built this? Where do I shit?
dude, Airbnbs have gotten so crazy.
Don't people rent out like tents and shit?
Yeah, it's like
They'll supply you the tent and everything like that.
it's just like regular shit. People are like, yeah, we'll go stay there, you know?
not
Don't
a
you
bad
want to sleep
move
in
if you don't want to set up a tent. Like I like camping, but I'm too lazy to set up a tent.
I'll just show up at your
You know,
house.
you get them rods and shit. You got
It's a pain in the butt.
together and fucking it's all like,
And you look sad in front of your wife too. You're like,
and you're tying it down, dink, 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 on
Ugh.
the ground, dink, 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 and then you realize that you're just sleeping in a little cloth house,
Yeah.
out in the woods.
oh, man, bunny.
Yeah, there's an Airbnb tent. Go
That's
stay in the tent.
nice, dude. That's probably in Austin.
You can fuck in this tent, bro.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
You ever did a lot of fucking outdoors, or what was your life like?
Outdoor fucking's the way to go. I ain't scared of mosquitoes. I'm an outdoor fucker, whenever possible.
Did you ever do any when you were
When
younger,
I was
Joe?
a kid, yeah, he stuck way in the woods. Me and this one girl, we were fooling around the woods. We never got to the actual sex part. We got close. We got ate alive by mosquitoes. We tried to get naked outside. And so, like, literally, our whole bodies was covered in mosquito bites. It was horrific.
Were y'all near a stream, or was it more landlocked area?
It was near a river.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
it was near
my
the
guy.
Charles River.
My guy.
Yeah. Kids would just go into the woods. You know, we'd always find kids drinking in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, like we lived in an area. I lived in Newton, Massachusetts when I was in high school. And Newton is, it's a great town, like a really cool area. And where I lived, which is called Upper Falls, there was all these like woods and trees and shit. And the river was right across the street from my house. And it was like, there was always these wild kids like playing Billy Squire on a boombox and smoking cigarettes. And it was like the Outsiders. It was really interesting. And then one kid would get a car, like, oh shit, Bobby's got a car.
Oh, it was the
You know?
best, dude.
Brum, brum, Bobby's driving us around. Like,
Rockford
this is
Foss
crazy.
Gates in the trunk, just
Yeah,
coming down the
man.
street.
Dude, to this day, one of my favorite cars, I have a 1970 Chevelle. And I got...
You own it?
Yeah.
Oh, bring it up. I would like to see it.
When I was a kid, before I had a car, my friend picked me up in his buddy's car. I didn't know the other dude. I met him like from school or something like that, but I didn't know him. And he picked me up in this 1970 Chevelle. It was black with white stripes, and it was perfect. And I remember I saw it. I was like, how does he own this? How can you own this?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I felt. Like I was sitting in the backseat of the car. I was like, this car is so crazy that you could own this car. And I remember he ran out of gas, but coasted right into the gas station and stopped the car in front. It was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
There's nothing better.
The guy owned that car somehow. As a 16-year-old boy, I was looking at this car going, how did you do this? How did you do this?
Let's see it.
No, that's a different car, Jamie. That's my 1970 Barracuda.
That's a beautiful.
I don't think the 70 Chevelle is on anywhere, but it's a just Google black 70 Chevelle SS white stripes.
Dude, there's nothing like.
That's it.
There's nothing like running out of gas and coasting to the fucking pump. Dude.
Mine looks almost exactly like that, but that's exactly like this kid's looked when he picked me up and I got a ride in his car. I was like, that's a 69. That's another amazing car. But that one, the upper one in the middle, that's my actual car. That's my car.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. Dude, I love that thing. That's my favorite, I think, out of all of them. I love it so much. It just because it brings me back to that moment when I was a 16-year-old kid, and this guy had this car. I was like, how do you have this car? How is this even possible that you have this car?
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy, dude. If an older kid picked you up when you were a kid and he had a car, that was like getting into like somebody who had a car's car when you couldn't even have a car was the craziest feeling ever.
Because you couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you were like,
the
what?
things that we completely take for granted. Like your buddy picks you up and give you a ride. Like, hey, what's up? What's up? How's it going on? It's normal for you now. Like, oh, I'm just sitting in the backseat of my friend's car. But back then, it was like, whoa. Yeah, hey, play something cool on the radio. Everything meant something. I remember my friend Mike was taking flying lessons when I was in high school. And I went up in an airplane with him when I was 14. We were both 14. And he was taking flight lessons. One of those... I was like, what the fuck? I'm letting this 14-year-old kid fly me around with him in a plane and an instructor. Yeah, but back then, like, you would just... You
do shit.
So thrilled just to get out of your fucking house. You'd hop in your buddy's backseat. You're like, where are we going? Yeah. I don't know, man. We're going to go to Bobby's house. Yeah, all right, you're listening to songs on the radio. You couldn't believe you were in a car.
Yeah. And it mattered, like, if your hand was out the window was down, if the window was up, how you were operating, if the seatbelt was on, if your arms were over this. Yes. You want to look cool.
One hand on the steering wheel, one hand out the window.
And you thought everybody you drove past looked at you.
What's up, kids?
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah.
What's up, kid? Just looking for some pussy.
I remember there was this one dude.
Those are the days, man.
When I was in high school, there was this one dude who was like, I think he was a couple of years older than us, and he graduated, but he was dating a girl that still went to the high school, and he had an IROC Z Camaro.
With the T-tops or no?
Yeah, of course.
Come on, bro.
Gotta have the T-tops. And this dude pulled in front of the high school, and everybody like couldn't believe it. He was like the coolest guy alive. Look at him in his IROC Z, picking up the girl that none of us can date. We salute you. Yeah.
God, I fucking remember that shit, dude. I remember my brother one time fucking...
I got more of the story.
Sorry, go on.
That dude who had that IROC ran over a guy accidentally and dragged them through the city for miles. Just tried to like get the body out from under his car a couple times, but couldn't do it, but just kept driving. So driving around this IROC Z with a person stuck under the car, driving for miles.
I hate that kind of stuff. Have you ever had like a bag stuck under your car or whatever?
Yes, that's different.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I feel like
it's a total joke.
I feel like if you drive over someone, maybe pull over. Hey, maybe pull over.
But I don't know, pulling over, dude. What do you do at that point?
There's like guys that you hear about from high school. It's like you feel like you're in a Stephen King book, like Stand By Me or something like that. You know?
Oh, totally. Everything felt like kind of had a Stephen King vibes back then, you know?
Well, people just disappeared back then, and there was no phones, and there was no internet, and you barely remembered people if you didn't see them for a month.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even have a picture. I have like 5 pictures of my friends from high school, you know? And mostly because my friend Jimmy sent them to me. But it's like, you don't remember. You don't remember what anybody looked like. You don't remember anything. But now,
Too much.
now you know everything. But back then, it's like you would hear about this, like one of the guys you went to high school with got in trouble, and like, oh no, now he's in jail. Whoa.
Like
He's
Todd's in jail.
Yeah, whoa. I remember I met this one dude who just got out of jail.
Yeah.
He was friends of my friend. The first guy I ever met that was in jail. He had just the weirdest vibe. I had a buddy of mine who actually was a training partner of mine, who was one guy. He was like this one way, and then he went to jail on a drug charge, and he came out like 3 years later, and
Yeah.
he was a totally different person.
Oh, wow.
He was super jacked. I don't know if he was doing steroids or what, but he was like really jacked and fucking aggressive and super dangerous. And he was telling me these stories about jail and about all the fights that he had gotten into in jail, and he got in, like almost like a fight to the death with a mop stick in this guy. He was telling me these horrific fights, and it had just changed him, man. I mean, I'd never experienced something like that before, where I knew a guy before he went to prison, and then I knew him after prison, and he was just a completely different person, and fucking very dangerous to spar with. Like, very dangerous. Like, he would try to kill you. We would have wars. Like, they weren't really sparring matches, they were fights.
Some people got dangerous, dude, especially if they got on the drugs or got on the gear, you know?
This guy I think was both. I think he was on gear, and I think he was doing coke, because I know he was selling coke. I know he was getting coke for girls and stuff like that. He wound up dying. But here's where it gets really crazy. While I knew this guy, like while he was training at the same gym as me, he got arrested and questioned in this murder where this guy who was an informant, I think he was an informant. They found him where he had been repeatedly injected with cocaine to keep him alive while they were breaking his bones. So from him blacking out from the pain, they were injecting him with cocaine to keep him awake and conscious while they were breaking his bones with a hammer. I think they cut his hands and his head off too, and he got somehow or another he got implicated or at least questioned about that. I was like, yo.
Imagine even being in the other room while that's going on.
Yeah.
You know, even trying to watch a show or whatever, or just like.
You hear.
You're like, keep it down. You know? I mean, bro,
Can't you guys insulate your torture house? It's fucking up the rest of the neighborhood. Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
I would never be able to torture somebody, I don't think. I would be able, I'm trying to think of the things I could do to somebody.
You might be able to do if someone did something to your loved ones. I think you'd be surprised at what like a mother would do if she caught some person doing something to one of her children.
Yeah.
You know?
And a father too, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, even mothers who you wouldn't think of as being like violent.
And do you think that's a choice they make, or you think it's something that's just inside of them?
It's inside of you, and there's a choice too, but it's inside of you. It's like we have instincts to protect our kids, you know, and you could get crazy violent.
Yeah.
And normal, regular people can get crazy violent to protect their children.
Well, it also seems like there's a lot of cases now where people are deceasing their own children.
Killing their own children?
Yeah.
There's always been evil people.
But it's just
sometimes
crazy,
evil
you know?
people have children. Yeah, man. There's people that poison their kids. There's evil people out there. In every, you know, stretch of the world, you're going to get a certain percentage of our population that just doesn't come out right. You know?
And that's normal. It's like everything. There's always a percentage that's just not right, yeah.
Well, whatever struggle that the human race is involved in is, if you wanted to break it down and like just philosophically, it's essentially a struggle between good and evil. Always. It's always a struggle between good and evil.
Yeah.
And you're always going to have a certain amount of evil that you have to overcome. And I think that amount of evil that you overcome should be small, but I think it enforces this idea to do good. And that good conquers evil if everybody works together cooperatively. But you need something. If you don't have resistance, it feels like people, the way we're designed to constantly try to innovate and make better things and improve upon society, improve upon our own lives, we're always like trying for progress, right? I think that's all sort of tied in to competition. And competition needs a foe. You need an antagonist and a protagonist. You need resistance.
Yeah.
And I think the unfortunate thing is that there is evil in the world. The fortunate thing is that evil makes you appreciate love, and it motivates people to stop evil,
Yeah.
and it motivates people to limit evil. You know, like the calls for law and order in this country, like during the riots. Remember when everybody was like, "We need law and order. We need law and order. You can't have just people breaking into things and stealing everything in law and order." Like that kind of stuff. It's like that's good versus evil. It's evil to just smash windows and steal things in the name of some guy that you don't know who died unjustly. That's crazy. You know, you're just using this as an opportunity to say fuck everyone. You can't have people just running around saying fuck everyone and lighting things on fire. You can't have that.
Yeah.
You can't have that. So like when you encounter these different things, it makes you appreciate not having those things, so it motivates you. One of the things that got people excited about Trump being in office is that he wanted to get away from all this defund the police shit. He wanted to get the country back to law and order. He wants us to increase manufacturing, all the things that make people feel good about the future.
Will give you purpose.
Yeah. And they didn't feel that way about the message that they were hearing from the other side. They felt like it was going to be more of the same shit. And more of the same shit doesn't get anything done. You still keep getting involved in these wars that you don't want to be involved in.
Yeah, shut it down. Shut down everything that doesn't have to do with us, I feel like, for a while. It's like there's just a lot of stuff that we haven't even healed from in this country, you know?
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I think there's a lot of things that we haven't healed from that we should try to address as a group, you know? And that could be like, you know, everything from Native American times, slavery times, opioid epidemic. There's tons of things I feel like that it's like, and I don't know how you do that. I mean, I know time has a lot to do with it, but it's like, I just don't know if sending our resources elsewhere is the most important thing right now, when it's like we could, I think, try at least.
Trump thinks he can fix these overseas conflicts. I don't know if he can, but the point is, like, something has to be done. We can't just keep throwing money at war and ignoring ourselves. That seems crazy. And if you're saying we're not ignoring ourselves, well, we're not spending the money and the resources that we need to fix all the problems that we have.
Well, yeah, it's like, even if you look at, like, you know, recently I learned that, like, the number one cause of medical debt is insurance. Medical debt is the number one cause of bankruptcy in America, right?
Is it really?
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
crazy.
That
It's
makes sense.
crazy that there's
makes
just
sense,
such
though,
a
because-
laundering system that goes on. It's money laundering
Well,
between
the thing is,
hospitals
like,
and insurance companies.
yeah, there's definitely. I mean, if you talk to Brigham Bueller from Waste Well, he'll explain to you.
Yeah, I just went there the other day.
He's the man.
I went to Kuya and I went there, dude.
Nice.
I've been trying to get well while I'm here.
Try to get well.
It's been tough.
What were we just talking about?
Medical debt.
Yeah, he'll explain it real well. It's like it's kind of a fucked up system, but it just makes sense that would be the number one reason why people would go bankrupt, because you're out of work because you got a medical issue, then you have medical bills. If you don't have insurance, you're really fucked. If you don't have insurance, like, woof.
But it's just a scam. Like, the prices for our drugs are so much more than other countries. Just things that it's like our government doesn't want to make better deals because there's this middleman that's making a lot of money off of it, you know?
There's that.
I don't know.
There's definitely a lot of influence with a lot of money, and
I don't know.
also companies that we need. You know, Pfizer makes good stuff. These companies make really beneficial drugs too.
Yeah.
But it's just the problem with all these fucking people is they just want to make more money constantly, and if they can get you taking more pills than you need, they will. That's how they sell. They want to sell pills. They can come up with a reason. Are you anxious? I am a little. Hey, here you go. And next thing you know, you're dependent.
Yeah, it's like, do you have two legs? You ever been on a bicycle? Like, the things are just crazy, you know?
Your
So you
feet itch.
Yeah. You ever had oatmeal raisin cookies? And you're like, well, fucking, this is me, I think.
We can't let them advertise. People are
That's
still going to
true.
buy the drugs, but the advertising thing is crazy because it affects the media too.
Yeah.
It affects what people are allowed to investigate. It affects what the news is, because the news is not going to give you everything. They're going to conveniently ignore things that would affect their partnerships.
Yeah.
You know, if you have
Yeah, it's all advertising.
yeah, what did we say it was again? The amount of billions of dollars they spend every year on advertising, pharmaceutical drug companies.
Did you, were you nervous about endorsing Trump or no?
I usually try to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was getting urged to by Dana and there was quite a few people. I didn't think it makes a difference. I kind of already stated what I thought about the way things were going and that some radical change needed to take place.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I'm not buying. Like, you know, when we were talking about before with the way the country feels, like the way the country felt when Biden was in office was shaky. Because regardless of what you thought about his policies, what he did in place, it was real clear something was wrong with him. And they were lying to us.
Oh, yeah.
So that alone makes the whole country feel uneasy, right? Even if you think that the administration is moving certain policies and certain things are moving in the right direction, the economy's moving in the right general direction, even if you agree to those things, when you have a guy that's at the front that's obviously in some way compromised, there's something going on that they don't want to admit, and everybody knows it, and he drifts off and he says things that don't make sense, and something's wrong, so everybody feels uncomfortable, even if everything's going well, right? Because for good or for bad, that person that's in that office kind of sets a tone for the country, and the tone for the last 4 years was confusion. So regardless of their policies, the tone that's being established whenever he talks or whenever she does interviews or she talks is a confusing talk. There's word salad, and then, you know, there's like these moments where it seems like she just doesn't know how to wrap up a sentence, which can just be nerves. It could just be nerves talking in front of large groups of people. It doesn't mean she's not brilliant. It really doesn't. Some people
she was new and kind of thrown into it.
But some people clam up when they have to do those things. But then there's the argument, that's the job, though. You have to be able to do that because you're going to have to be able to talk to Putin and, you know, presidents of these different countries and leaders throughout the world. You got to be able to handle pressure. So that's kind of part of it too. Part of it too is you got to be able to handle pressure. But the thing that people worry about Trump is that he's so antagonistic, you know, and that's the tone of the country. And the tone of the country is not like the tone of the Obama administration. I always felt was the best because he was measured, never attacked anybody. He was very articulate and smooth.
Yeah, he was smooth.
There was not a lot of ums and ahs. Like some people, Trump throws too many extra words in, but it's just his flavor. His flavor is he rambles, he goes all over the place. Like I joke, look at this hair. What is wrong with my hair? He makes fun. He's doing stand-up up there. Obama was the smoothest, and Clinton was pretty fucking smooth too. Maybe Clinton and Obama, those are the goats. So like when you get a person, for good or for bad, that's smooth and talks like a professional, like an actual president, it makes everybody like, ooh, he's got this. This guy's a real professional president. Like, look at him.
Yeah.
With Trump, you're like, I hate Taylor Swift. Like, no, don't do that. Don't say that.
Yeah, you pressed the wrong button today, buddy.
He tweeted out that that lady that he allegedly slept with was, he called her horseface. Why was the president? It's so crazy to do.
It's fucking unreal.
But for a lot of like super sensitive people and progressive people, that's why they want to believe that he's Hitler.
Right.
They want to believe. They look at these things and then they don't look at it as like a flavor in the soup. Like, look, it's all pepper. No, it's not all pepper. Like pepper's a part of it. Yeah, he probably shouldn't tweet I hate Taylor Swift, but whatever.
Yeah.
What's important is like, what is he gonna do in terms of fix all these problems that everybody agrees are real problems?
Yeah.
And can he do it? And can he keep all these people in his staff, RFK Jr.? I don't know. I don't know if he can do it, but
I'm curious.
If he can, at least we have hope. If RFK really does the things that we think he wants to do and starts to kind of clean up some of the corruption in the system, it'd be exciting. It'd be good for people. If we stop putting ingredients in foods that are illegal in Canada because they're dangerous, how about we stop doing that here?
Yeah.
Seems like a logical thing. It's not like Fruit Loops in Canada sell that less.
Yeah.
It's probably equal sales.
And people would get unaddicted quick. You're really just getting people addicted to things, you know?
I don't even understand.
And how about we prosecute that fucking Sackler family that fucking killed hundreds of thousands of people in our country? How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
How about that?
Well, you saw the whole thing where they were trying to buy immunity.
Huh?
They were trying to buy immunity. They were going to have like a settlement where they would give X amount of billions of dollars, but then they were immune to prosecution.
But isn't that what they did, though?
But I think what happened was they put a pause on that after the Netflix documentary came out.
Wow.
And that was, we talked about it once, but I don't know where it's at now. But that family, they made billions of dollars by getting people hooked on opium.
This family is mass murderers.
Yeah.
If anybody with the last name, they should. Kick that gene pool out of our fucking country. Those people are fucking murderers, dude. I think a lot of people still haven't gotten over that shit.
And do you
That's
know
one thing I
that
liked
was
about
the same family that was involved in Valium?
Yeah, I do know that.
Mother's Little Helper, that was Valium. That's what ladies in the fucking 60s were
Heartless
taking Valium.
fucking lizards. Get those motherfuckers out of here. And that's one thing. That was one of the reasons why I was supportive of Vance. I just believe he has a soft spot for that type of thing, and I hope that it'll get. I don't know if he can do anything because lobbies are so big now.
Wasn't someone in his family an addict?
Yeah, his mother suffered from addiction,
Right,
you know.
right.
But he's just seen it, you know.
Make sure that the Sackler family was involved in the Valium thing. I don't want to have to edit that out. As if I called them a piece of shit about one thing, but hey, we weren't a piece of shit about that other thing. I think they were, though.
Even thinking about it, bro, it makes me so angry, you know. Because you don't know the
family member. Arthur Sackler, a member of the Sackler family, was a major figure in the promotion of Valium through direct marketing to physicians in the 1960s. Yeah, that is it. So same family.
Yeah.
Evil.
Evil.
It's evil.
It's
evil.
literally evil. Like if
Just destroying lives.
It's devil. It's the devil.
It's a drug dealer. It's one of the worst drug dealers because you're sneaking around with doctors.
Yeah.
You're sneaking around under the this guise of authority.
Well, one of the problems is that say if you work for a politician, right, in D.C.
Right.
They can only pay you so much money by law.
Right.
To work with them and help put their bills together.
Right.
So at a certain point, the lobbyists can pay more to those same people who've been writing bills for the congressmen and for the senators, so they then go to work as lobbyists. That's one of the biggest problems.
Right.
So a lot of it is that we have a cap on certain salaries, right? And that we also have a law that we also don't have a law that stops people once you work for one side that you can't work for the other.
Right. That's the thing with the FDA and pharmaceutical drug companies.
And I'm not saying that I don't know the answer. I'm just saying that that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons why that happened.
It's a conflict of interest.
Right.
For sure. And it's just nobody regulated it. They allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
It should be if you're working for the FDA, you should never be able to leave and go to a pharmaceutical drug company where you then make incredible amounts of money. That seems like a conflict of interest. Like you would be willing to do, if you would have conversations with these people and they'd say, listen, you're nice to us in a couple of years, golden parachute, you want a yacht? I think you need a yacht. And next, you're a millionaire, which is bizarre that you can do that. It's just as bizarre as the whole insider trading in Congress. You know that a bill's going to get passed. You know this bill's going to affect a stock. You gamble high on that stock. The bill gets passed, and you make a lot of money. That seems illegal.
Yeah, it's cheating.
That seems crazy. But there's a lot of those things, man. And this system was set up by people, and people are flawed.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, it's like no one's going to do anything perfectly. I don't know.
Well, it's not just that. Accountability and transparency in terms of like what's actually going on is way different now because our access to information is way different now. Like anybody can just sort of Google budgets and Google this, and you find out that, and you find out this about the Pentagon and that about this. Like, there's just you don't have to look in the New York Times anymore.
Right.
You don't have to wait for the news to come on at 5. Now you get it whenever you want it, and that's sort of changed everything with what you can get away with and not get away with. So for the longest time, even though there's rules and the Constitution set up in the Bill of Rights, there's been people that have had a lot of power for a long ass time without a bunch of people looking at them, and now more people are looking at them than ever before. And then you get this guy like Trump comes in like, FBI, they're crooked. Whoa, bro, what are you doing? You going to war with the CIA?
He's like that drunk uncle, dude. Bro, what about Barron Trump, dude? There's no credit. Like, whatever you think about this election, the whole thing to me is fascinating. First of all, because Dana White made so much stuff happen.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Dana White made the Trump thing happen, for sure.
He was
trying to get me to have Trump on in like 2017.
Bro, you would hear rumors of that in the distance.
Bro, he would call me up. He'd call me up. Joe, listen, the president wants to do your podcast. I go, you mean Trump?
You're trying to change the name of it.
Wait, what are you doing, man? Why are you trying to get me in trouble? And back then I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. There's too many people are angry. Too many people are pissed off. I was like, I don't need to. And I didn't pay attention to it enough I didn't pay attention to the way they were misrepresenting things that he had said enough.
Yeah.
I didn't really. My wake-up call was when they went after me. When CNN went after me, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy. You think I'm taking veterinary drugs, bitch?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is the dumb. Also, why are you upset that I got better quick? Like, what is this about? Like, that I took veterinary drugs and got better quick?
And why in the article, hey, why wouldn't you herald it, say, hey, this could be a possibility? You know, it's like.
Not only that, it's just there's no way they didn't know that it was for humans.
Those people are, it's all a sick.
But when I saw that, and that was so minor in comparison to the way they've come after Trump, because they come after Trump with lawsuits and all kinds of crazy shit. And I don't think he's a perfect person. I think he's fun. And I think he's a very competitive guy, which is why he likes playing golf so much, and just why he wouldn't quit until he became the president again. And he pulled it off.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I've heard from people on the left is it's not the result that we wanted, but we hope the country can come together. And I think we should all have that mentality.
Yeah.
This idea that we're all separate. We're on Team USA. And I think we should just like all publicly state, nobody gives a fuck where you're from, what you do. You're on Team USA. We're all in this shit together. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Let's forget about all this identity politics nonsense and all like.
But is that going to happen, you think?
If at least we can put that thought out there instead of everyone's racist, everyone's a Nazi,
yeah.
It's that ain't helping nobody. You're just pushing people further and further away. The people that used to identify as left, they've been forced to these sort of center-right positions just to maintain normalcy.
Yeah.
When you're giving puberty blockers to kids and you're opening up gender-affirming care clinics and treating kids, like, shut the fuck up. You're not on the right side. You think you're on the right side because you think you're being compassionate. What you're doing is crazy to most people, and we don't want it. And we think you might be like in a cult. Like it's a giant cult of leftists that think crazy things. And they're allowing all sorts of bizarre things to happen in society, like the no cash bail thing, like things you think are good. You know, structural racism is why there's so many people in prison, right? Yeah, but you can't just let people out who shoot people.
Right.
You can't just have people robbing people and right back out on the street. You can't have that. You can't have that. You'll have a full deterioration of society and no one will thrive. And you'll be under chaos. You'll be like living in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro in just a decade. You can't just keep this trend going. You're going to fall apart. And it's these idealistic utopian people that want these things to happen. These people that believe that Marxism has never been effectively done, but it can be done. That, you know, that there's a version of all of these different communist philosophies that you can imply. There's socialism that could work, right? There's a version of it that can work and make it more equitable for everybody. But the end of that is always one thing. It's totalitarian control over what you say and do. Because as soon as you want to redistribute funds, as soon as you want to tell people they can't have things anymore, then you're going to have to take it from them.
Yeah. Well, I think, like, to me, everything kind of started to feel like this privatized communism, right? Like, once the post office didn't work, I was like, the government's fucked, dude. I was like, these bastards can't even get a package to fucking Toledo in 2 days, dude. You know, like, but
the problem with
it
the
really
post
did,
office is that there's like UPS now.
Right, but but you go in there, dude. It's like a Western. They're serving liquor at the counter. Like it's definitely it's
the post office.
It's gone downhill.
They have liquor.
I mean, they don't, but they. You could probably score a gram up there at the counter. Like it's gone. You know, the doors. There's no hinges. It's gotten. Dude, it's the Wild West over there.
Which post office you going to, bro?
Every post office, bro.
All of them are bad?
Bro, 75% of the post offices are, it's gotten, but I just use that as an example of like a government, it just like started to fall apart, right?
The last time I saw a post office was the last election. That was the last time I went to a post office.
Well, yeah.
The last election when I mailed in my California ballot.
Yeah, and how many? You mailed in 20 million of them, apparently. How many? And at that time, was there a saloon happening?
Isn't that like at least cause for concern? That leap in numbers.
Yeah.
What is it now, Jamie? Do we know what the official numbers are now?
One hasn't really. I don't know why it hasn't updated more.
But
California's, they're digging in their heels. They don't want to make the election real.
I don't think either one of these parties is what the people say like Democrat. They're not the same parties it was 15 years ago.
Most people are waking up to that. That's why if you look at the map of
There's
California,
something new going on.
Look at the map